Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if kyuubi awaken the Naruto potential. Before I start, please support for more amazing content, and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by VFSNAKE and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Naruto had just snuck out of the hospital free from the glaring doctors and nurses, who saw him as they walked by hoping he died in a ditch somewhere when he was let out. The mission to retrieve Sasuke had been a failure in every sense of the word, with the Uchiha in the grasp of the snake Sannin Orochimaru. The fact that Naruto had technically been the one to make the mission a failure did not help his already low standing in this hellhole village he called his home. Sakura was not too thrilled either, blaming him for Sasuke leaving, telling him had he not tried to rival the Uchiha in power that the spoiled child would still be in Konoha to give her a date. What she needed was a fat lip to match with her huge forehead. Naruto was so tired of their constant hatred of him, their glares, their ever-desired dream of wanting him dead for things he didn't even do. Naruto needed to get out of Konoha before he suffocated from the village's arrogance. He needed to leave. Period. Not like anyone will miss me. First chance they get, they'll celebrate and break the old man's law, since the team council will overrule it just like they tried to all the other times, thought Naruto, having overheard a few council members talk about overruling another execution for breaking the Sandaime Hokage's law. With that thought in mind, Naruto made a shadow clone to head home, hoping that all he had of value wasn't destroyed this time, knowing that what his plans required he leave the leaf. While the Naruto clone went to his apartment, the real Naruto went to the old hag's office to say his goodbye, or at least leave a letter should she be in one of those meetings. Hokage Tower at the moment. What do you mean you're ordering Naruto's execution? Said Tsunade, who was now completely furious with the council before her, as they were nothing but crusty old men and women from the Dark Ages, thinking they were all right due to their experience with running things in Konoha. Just like you said, Hokage-sama. The demon boy lost to Uchiha Sasuke because he held back, meaning he let the last Uchiha leave, meaning that Uzumaki is a traitor as well, and therefore must be killed. The only reason he didn't escape was because Kakashi arrived on the scene moments after the battle ended, said Danzo, knowing that the law was very clear on traitors and the kyuubi vessel was in such range of those laws. I see. And what happens if Uchiha Sasuke is captured and brought back to Konoha? Will he be executed too, or do you like to show favoritism to a spoiled bloodline user who deserts their villages for power? Said Tsunade, wondering how they could make that swing in their favor. We believe that due to the curse seal on Sasuke that he went temporarily insane out of the sheer jealousy of the kyuubi vessel. Should the Uchiha be captured, the boy will be evaluated by our top seal and psychological experts before going down that road. We are confident that the boy will come around to our side if and when he returns to Konoha will be given a chance to redeem himself, said Koharu, smiling a fake smile at the Hokage, hating the woman before her with the feelings mutual. You mean your side? You would embrace a traitor, but not the village's hero, who from my understanding was treated worse the scraps of food you throw your pets. You are even lucky that I am the Hokage right now because of Naruto, since he was the one that got me to come back here in the first place. Had it not been for him, you would have been powerless against an invasion from IWA or Kumo if they ever decided to become bold, said Tsunade, knowing those two powers were exactly Konoha friendly right now. Mind your tongue, Tsunade, as you can be removed if we see fit. We know all about war, or have you forgotten? Said Hamura, scowling at the woman, who smashed her fist on the table, cracking it nearly in half. Perhaps you need to be reminded of who I am, Hamura-san. If you have some memory loss, maybe you would like to fight me in a spar so we can resharpen your skills along with your mind, said Tsunade, grinning at the now cowering man, who knew he stood no chance in hell against the woman before him. Enough. The decision is final between us, meaning we overrule any type of intervention you wish to create here, Hokage-sama. The boy will execute it 3 days from now after he is picked up by our A and B unit we sent to retrieve him, said Danzo, knowing that the team he had sent was ordered to retrieve and if necessary subdue the demon child. Unknown to them, a certain clone of a certain person was overhearing this via ventilation system above the meeting room before silently going poof. Naruto had made the clone right after going into the office with the help of Shizen after telling the nice woman he wanted to speak to her in private, but secretly as well. He had figured since Tsunade was having a meeting with the council his name would come up and he needed to know what was going on. The end result with the said clone going poof sent all of the learned information back to the original Naruto, who was now in Tsunade's office, or precisely her Hokage chair. He was currently busy writing his goodbye letter, only to stop as all the information from the clone came pouring into his head, and became angry with the assholes in charge. So that's how it's going to play out, huh? Well, let's see them catch me when they don't even know where I am or follow me once I get over the border, thought Naruto before writing some final choice words into his note for the council to hear if read out loud, and left out the window to the rendezvous point where his other clone was. Are you sure you want to leave knowing who you'll leave behind? Not everyone hates your guts, Kit. Some may actually sympathize with you, said the kyuubi as his shadowy face appeared in Naruto eyesight as the vessel headed for the forest area. Even if they could, it doesn't matter now. I'll be dead if they catch me, and then the truth will be told with a spin on it, making and everyone hate me regardless of all the good I did for them in the past. Is that how you want to be remembered, Fox? Having your vessel go back to face his executioners, and simply die a dishonorable death taking you along for the ride into hell? I didn't think that was your style since you are a demon lord, thought Naruto, slipping past the guards, who are currently not doing their duties on account of them being drunk. Point well taken, Kit. However, do you realize that if you do this, then Akatsuki will come after you, and you will no longer be under the protection of the Leaf or the super pervert? Said Kyuubi, frowning at his vessel, as if to make the boy realize that with this action came consequences. Protection? Konoha protect me? Ha! That's a laugh, Fox. You know as well as I do the only protection I ever got in Konoha was from the old man, and now he's gone. As for Erosenin, he only cares about his research, and would trade me for a second in terms of training me for a chance to peep in a bathhouse. You look me in the eyes and say otherwise, thought Naruto, scowling himself at the fox before finally meeting up with his clone and getting what his things placed in a ceiling scroll he acquired from the shinobi library before leaving a paint bomb for Mrs. Haruno. The shallow pink-haired woman had on more than one occasion had tried to discreetly kill him, having been a former shinobi herself, only to be foiled each time by Naruto's fox-like sense of danger. To add insult to her injury, he had flipped her off several times when at a safe distance after her attempts to make her remember he wasn't dying, at least not by her hands anyway. Good times when that part happened. Another point in your favor, Kit. I'm impressed, which is not always the case with me since we demons aren't impressed much due to our high expectations of things lower on the food chain. However, you are a special case, and as such I'm going to help you since you are my vessel, as I refuse to have such a weakling for a prison, said Kyuubi, having seen the boy fight using his power, and his own, knowing that the reason the damn Uchiha won was because Naruto showed mercy in not killing the power-hungry fool. And here I thought you liked me because of my charming good looks, thought Naruto, letting out a small laugh, while the Kyuubi itself surprisingly had laughed too at the joke. But whether or not it was meant to insult Naruto or to compliment him, the boy was not sure. We must reach the border soon before they discover that you have made an unofficial departure from Konoha, which I estimate will be any moment now. Even if it is some distance to the hospital from the Hokage Tower, for a shinobi of high level it take but a mere minutes if not moments, said Kyuubi, and sure enough special ninja alarm bells went off coming from Konoha, indicating a shinobi had abandoned the village. Have I ever told you how I hate it when people around me are right about something at the moment I don't want them to be, Fox? Said Naruto, now sensing the growing chakra signatures behind him, all A and B level and closing fast. On more than one occasion, Kit, but that is a topic meant for another discussion at a later time. Right now you have to fight these hairless apes off before more come to take you back to your execution, said Kyuubi, knowing that the shinobi team behind them would most likely try to kill his vessel in the forest, then return him for a proper and more public execution where some brave shinobi or Hokage may possibly get a decent enough backbone to defend his vessel on their behalf. Fat chance in hell. Konoha. Sometime earlier, Hyuga Hinata was blushing as she held the flowers in her hands, wondering how Naruto would react when he saw them if he wasn't asleep while healing his bandaged up body. She had fainted the last time she saw him at the hospital because he was wrapped almost entirely in bandages after his body had been practically destroyed in his fight with Sasuke, though she imagined Sasuke was not feeling good either. It hurt her to see the boy that she had come to admire look so broken like that, and Hinata had felt her mind shut down upon the sight. Now, as she headed towards the hospital, Hinata could only hope that Naruto was feeling better, and would come to appreciate these flowers as a token of her low friendship. Hinata made her way to his room after eventually finding it, wondering slightly as to why the staff around her seemed hateful towards Naruto when she asked for his room. She had hoped that everything was alright when she approached the door, only to find the door was now slightly open. Peeking inside, Hinata held back a gasp as she saw several A&B looking around the room, finding out like her that one Uzumaki Naruto was not in his room. Damn that kid! Where is he? We have to find him so we can keep him contained until his execution, said an A&B with a tiger mask on, punching the wall right next to him out of frustration. Execution? Naruto-kun is going to be executed? Oh no, thought Hinata in horror, as she had heard about executions from a branch house Hyuga clan member, and how they were horrible sights to behold, showing man's cruelty at showing death in such a manner. What are you so upset about? In his condition that monster couldn't have gotten far, and when we catch him, we get to have a little fun with the damn demon, said an A&B with a falcon mask, remembering the specific of their orders from Danzo. Monster? Demon? Naruto-kun isn't a demon. How can someone as sweet and caring as him be a demon? Thought Hinata, her eyes nearly swelling up in sadness at her crush was having his name being driven through the mud like that. We better report our findings to the council and then later to the Hokage. They've been waiting for an excuse to go after the boy, and this is our chance to get him ourselves, said the third ANBU member, who was their captain, jumping out the window with the other two right behind him. I have to tell Hokage-sama, thought Hinata, dropping her flowers and rushing off to tell the woman in charge what she heard, hoping that the female Hokage could save her crush from the apparent death warrant signed on his head. By the time Hinata got to the Hokage Tower, the alarm had been sounded, and before she could get to the door she saw a team of no less than 8 ANBU head out dressed in full combat gear. Fearing even more for Naruto's life, Hinata ran as fast as her legs could take her and rushed into the Hokage's office, not hearing Shizen's protest, or the 2 ANBU guards behind her trying to stop her. Hinata? Why are you in my office? Said Tsunade, not really in a good mood right now, and the scowl on her face proved it, having quickly hiding the letter Naruto left behind. Why are you letting them go to kill Naruto-kun? Said Hinata as her eyes were now releasing her tears as she ran to the older woman's desk. How did you find out about that? Who told you? Said Tsunade in an authority-giving voice, only to look worried knowing she would have to explain herself to the little girl, who now probably thought had a hand in this little plot to kill the blonde vessel. She hates him too. She's just like all the others that glare at him, thought Hinata before rushing to the door only for Tsunade to stop her so she could explain what happened. Tsunade didn't get a chance to, as she felt a blast of intense demonic chakra that could have come from only one source in all of Fire Country, Uzumaki Naruto. A moment earlier with Naruto. Anything to say before we kill you, demon filth? Said the ANBU captain wearing a cat mask as he and his team surrounded the boy, all holding deadly-looking weapons. Yeah, I got something to say, so shut up and listen because it will be the last thing you ever hear. First, I think you are all a bunch of assholes for taking this job to kill me or whatever it is you were told to do by those teams on the council. Second, even if I do die at your hands, one day so will all of you, and you will all go to hell. And when that day happens, Kyuubi will be waiting for you to make you his own personal playthings. Third, should I survive this, I want you all to remember this. Should I leave any of you remotely alive to count to 10. When I become strong enough, I will return to the leaf to finish what Kyuubi started by destroying every single arrogant villager and shinobi in Konoha. Said Naruto, not going to hold back anymore and let out all the chakra his body could generate, scaring the ANBU since the level nearly rivaled Hatake Kakashi's own. Is this the Kyuubi's doing? Thought the ANBU team, as they saw the dome of thick blue chakra laced with the demonic red of Kyuubi cover Naruto before blasting out at them, disrupting their chakra networks. Before any of them could act, Naruto was upon them, punching and kicking them in the various ways of taijutsu that he picked up as well as learned given what little training he had. With no one to train him growing up, the taijutsu Naruto used was nothing short of a very unorthodox way of brawling, though the power behind each of the blows was still quite powerful. Fire style, fire blast jutsu, said an ANBU shinobi, who was able to get his chakra coil system under control long enough to go through several hand signs before unleashing a power fire jutsu at Naruto. The fire attack hit dead on surrounding Naruto in the hot fiery blast, giving time for the other shinobi to recover, though some of them doubted that boy would even survive. How wrong they were. The fire around Naruto was soon covered in demonic red chakra and seemed to reform like a giant fox hovering almost protectively over the boy. It was almost more than the ANBU could take as they saw Naruto transforming as well, with his eyes now red with slits, his hands resembled claws, and his teeth were sharper with fangs along the canine teeth. You puny mortals think you can simply just go and kill me through my vessel, don't you? Fools! I am a demon of legend with a power that makes even Kami himself tremble in fear. I have no intention of dying just yet, and when I do I will have a worthy successor to my throne long before that day happens. It's almost a pity that none of you will be there when that day happens, said the fire-like form of Kyuubi before using all 9 of its fire-like tails, creating a massive explosion of fire outside its form. Unfortunately for Naruto, the strain of maintaining the Kyuubi's temporary form in his still recovering condition made his form collapse, and all he saw was darkness. Damn it! I can only hold this form for a little longer before it gives out, and no doubt more of those damn Konoha shinobi are on their way after this. Fortunately, all I need is a moment, and there is enough chakra to get us out of here, said Kyuubi using his fire-like teeth, and picked up the boy, who still had some residual demonic chakra on him to prevent himself from being burned before heading towards the border, knowing a select few could pursue once they crossed Hokage Tower. Tsunade-sama. Do you think it could be the Q? Said Shizen, rushing to the window, seeing a large explosion in the distance, making her stop her current sentence right before Tsunade could. Shizen! Go get Jiraiya and tell him to go retrieve Naruto now. Tell him to do what he has to do, said Tsunade, knowing that if it came down to it Jiraiya may have to be the one who kills Naruto, and she knew that when it did happen it would haunt the super pervert and herself until the day they died. She didn't notice Hinata had slipped out of her grasp and ran out of her office. Naruto, I am so sorry, thought Tsunade, letting tears finally fall from her face with her hands clenched into fists, knowing that no matter what she did she couldn't seem to save the one she cared about. It seemed the heavens too were crying since it was now raining once more outside. Flashback. Those bastards, thought Tsunade, entered her office filled with so much anger right now that she wanted to smash the first person she saw regardless of who they were. Going over to her desk, she saw a note written in Naruto handwriting and picked it up, feeling a sinking feeling in her heart since no one should have been in her office. Dear old hag and council teams, if you're reading this then it's clear that I'm not here right now, and I'm out of the village away from you Uchiha loving faces. All my life I've had to put up with your shit, and the deliberate attempts to weaken me out of your arrogant wisdom thinking I would destroy Konoha. First off, I never had any intentions of attacking Konoha or its people unless it was in self-defense and protecting my right to exist. From now on I answer to no one in Konoha. My life, my will, and my very being is my own to do with as I see fit. I will not let my life be dictated by some old fossils, who are afraid of losing their position and fading gracefully into the history books. You have all let your arrogance blind you to the belief the Uchiha clan will be revived by a guy who hasn't even looked at a girl, much less taken interest in one. You would have a better chance of Itachi team coming back doing the job himself. But just to piss you and Sasuke team off, I'll remove Itachi from your hands soon enough since he's after me. If I decide to come back to Konoha it won't be to protect its people, but rather to destroy them since they have done nothing to deserve any form of mercy from me. So to you all listening, I suggest you keep an eye open at night, because when I return the leaf will run red with blood, and its people will burn in hell. Uzumaki Naruto aka, your soon-to-be worst nightmare. P.S. For all you team council members reading this, I know you ordered my execution, so thank you for giving me the reason to come back to kill everyone. Have a nice day. Not. Oh no. Oh Kami, please no, said Tsunade, falling back into her chair as tears fell from her eyes in sorrow. End flashback. Now as the Hokage of Konoha, she was sending her last remaining friend when she was a part of the legendary 3 to kill her little brother. I deserve to go to hell, said Tsunade, putting her head on the table, covering it with her hair and tears. Some time later, Naruto found himself lying face up in a dark cave with a roaring fire next to him, no doubt created by Kyuubi right before its form died away and spirit went back into his seal. He heard the rain outside the cave entrance, meaning that the trail that was left behind would be lost in the weather. Thank Kami for small favors, even if he does owes me a couple hundred big fat ones, thought Naruto, sitting up, and cracked his neck and other joints in his body aching all over. Now that you are conscious again, we need to have a serious talk. You are no longer safe in this world, and for you to become stronger you will need to leave it, said Kyuubi after focusing some of the chakra out of Naruto's body into the fire to create a fox head. Leave this world? What the hell are you talking about? Said Naruto, frowning at the fire and at the fox head in front of him. Just as I originally said, Kit. I will help you open a portal to Demon World that will take you right to the outside of my den, where I hold all sorts of knowledge, items, and skills for you to learn. However, if I do this, you have to do 2 things for me in return that I will hold you to your very word in keeping, said Kyuubi, as the seriousness in his voice didn't change. I'm listening, said Naruto curiously. First, you will drop that stupid smiling mask. It may fool those flesh maggots back in Konoha, but not the demons lying in wait in Demon World. You must be calm, yet as cold as ice, and your mind must be as sharp as steel, said Kyuubi, knowing that the only way the kid was going to get stronger was to remove the handicap he created for himself, even if it was only created to keep himself alive in a hostile environment. Done and done. What's the second? Said Naruto, interlacing his hands together, looking right at the fox, completely focused on getting stronger. You become my successor, the heir to my throne, and more importantly become the son I was wanted. I will give you power, the knowledge I possess, and how to use or control that power. Whatever you do with the power I give you will be entirely up to your discretion in using, said Kyuubi, not wanting his legacy to die with him, as that would be one of the worst things imaginable for a demon. To be the last of your kind to die in such a lonely manner. So I would be a demon lord like you were? Said Naruto, frowning as he now imagined himself as a giant fox destroying everything in sight. Yes. But before you simply assume you would become a violent 4-legged beast like I was, you are gravely mistaken. At least partially mistaken anyway, since we demons can have human-like forms when there are times that require us to be in them, said Kyuubi before turning its fiery-like head towards another figure in the cave, moaning in pain. Who the hell is that? Said Naruto, getting up from his spot, and walked over to the one person he thought would not be around, much less be breathing right now. Oh, him? Surely you remember him? I found him while taking you to safety, barely breathing due to a disease that once plagued his lungs. His name is Kimimaro, if my memory is correct, from when he stopped you and that lazy Nara clan member from successfully completing your mission of retrieving the Uchiha from the other sound shinobi. I believe he will make a very nice spy and bodyguard for you during your time in Demon World once he is properly healed and fully cured him of the disease, said Kyuubi, as he looked at the albino, remembering the man's undying loyalty, and how such love could be channeled to serve them. You mean he's not fully cured? Said Naruto, looking at the fox before sitting down near Kimimaro to see that the curse seal on his chest was removed. A form of incentive in case the kid wants to still serve Orochimaru. Before, the disease could not be cured by normal human hands, but as you slept in your unconscious state, I used my demonic chakra to reduce the severity of disease. Now it is in a lower yet still lethal stage that can be possibly cured if he is given the proper treatment in time from a skilled doctor. I wonder how he will react when he learns that his disease became untreatable because of the cursed seal that was once on his body, said Kyuubi, now laughing at the irony of the situation. What do you mean, Kyuubi? Said Naruto, looking at the fox now, not seeing the one eye of Kimimaro now fully open, being awake, hearing the whole conversation. Orochimaru knew this boy had the disease long before it became known to Kabuto or Kimimaro himself, even when he was told. The curse seal that Orochimaru gave him had accelerated the disease's destruction rate ahead of schedule due to the corruption of the chakra in the seal itself. This in turn made Kimimaro unable to have Orochimaru use his body, but it also made the time he had on this earth short due to the increase in the disease spreading throughout his lungs, said Kyuubi, seeing the albino was alive, but didn't let it show to either human. So in a nutshell, had Kimimaro not been given the curse seal by Orochimaru, he could have been treated, and then been used as the Sanin's newest body, said Naruto, his eyes widening at the stupidity of the snake man, wondering why he did what he did. Exactly. You see, for all Orochimaru's so-called power, he fears those that rival his no matter how loyal they are. And you know as well as I do the Sannin will do anything to keep them under his thumb. Kimimaro has one of the strongest senses of will to live I have ever seen in a long time, cursed seal or not. Had the Sannin tried to possess the albino without the seal, regardless of the disease, the jutsu would have failed, and Orochimaru would be no more, said Kyuubi, turning his head now to see Kimimara's open eye overflowing with watery tears as the truth pierced his very soul. My whole life up until now in his service has been nothing but a lie, thought Kimimaro angrily, knowing how far he went to please his former master with the assassination of the Kazekage that led to the Sound/Suna invasion, the rounding up of potential candidates for future body possessions, and the recent mission to retrieve the Uchiha being just a few of them. I know you're awake, albino. I've sensed it for some time, and I know you heard every little detail I just said to my vessel. I have spoken only the truth about what I said about your former master Orochimaru and your disease, said Kyuubi, knowing that while the truth may hurt Kimimaro now, the rewards for doing so would be several times greater. I see that now. However, in some way I've always known that about Orochimaru, and the knowledge that I was being used by him for his own end. Even though I knew this, I still followed the Sannin, knowing my life had purpose in serving another no matter the reason behind it, said Kimimaro, earning a nod from Naruto in understanding, since that was all he ever wanted to. Kami must have been asleep or taking a break when our lives were made a living hell, thought Naruto, wondering how Kami would explain this to him when they eventually met somewhere down the line. Incidentally, the angels up in heaven noticed that Kami was getting his team of lawyers together more and more to discuss legal matters, as it was put. You said I could be cured completely? Said Kimimaro, looking at the fox head made of fire that nodded in his direction. Yes, but such a thing is not without price. You serve the snake Sannin with fanatical devotion, and so you will serve my vessel with the same loyalty. Do you have problem with that? Said Kyuubi, glaring at the albino, who shivered under the demon lord's gaze, knowing that it was far worse than Orochimaru's. No, Kyuubi-sama, no problem at all. I swear that when I am fully healed by your power that I will forever serve you and Naruto-sama until my last breath, said Kimimaro before he went into a small coughing fit with his disease acting up once more. Good. We will begin preparations for healing you soon once my heir and vessel has his strength returned to him, since it will be from his body the demonic chakra will flow from. Before that I will begin the transformation of his form into that of a future fox demon. After those two objectives become complete, we will head to Wave Country to retrieve another pair of bodyguard and spies to assist in our endeavors, said Kyuubi, knowing of two others they could retrieve to assist his vessel in anything that happens. You don't mean? Said Naruto, only to see Kyuubi's fiery head nod once, making the boy's eyes widen. Yes, I do. Once they are resurrected we will head to Demon World while your three new allies keep tabs on Konoha and the other villages while we're away for 3 years, said Kyuubi, getting another surprised look from Naruto. 3 years? I can't learn everything you know in 3 years, said Naruto, wondering what the fox was thinking when it decided that. Ye of little faith, my child. You see, the whole thing involving time, seconds, minutes, hours, and everything else concerning that crap does not apply there. How do you think we demons have lived for so long without falling at the hands of Father Time? Said Kyuubi, knowing that when he got through training Naruto, no force on Kami's sweet earth could or would be able to stop Naruto. Not even the second coming of Uchiha Madara. You know more than anyone when my body will be right for this transformation, so just tell when my body ready to handle it, and I'll do what I have to do, said Naruto, knowing that he pushed himself to a point of near suicidal tendencies when it came to fighting or training and having to hold back a lot so the villagers would think he was harmless. Well, harmless enough anyway that they believed he couldn't kill them, but not so weak that he couldn't fight back. That, however, was going to change very soon. We'll start tonight then, said Kyuubi before his fire-made form disappeared, making the decision final. Well, as long as we're waiting, let's learn more about each other, said Naruto, turning to Kimimaro, who nodded slightly if not by much from his position. His eyes are filled with pain like mine. I've seen those eyes before on another when I was still a child growing up right before my clan was killed, thought Kimimaro, as he mostly listened to Naruto tell him about pranks he pulled on people who had been mean to him. Kimimaro gave a weak smile when he heard how Naruto had managed to make a certain pink-haired woman end up with her head shaven in her sleep. Kimimaro almost let out a chuckle at how there was no proof Naruto had done it when asked about it the next day without the Haruno woman incriminating herself, telling the Hokage that she broke his S-class law that very same day that resulted in the prank itself being justified. Granted, Naruto didn't understand what she meant when she said those words, which had stopped her from being killed, but the fact that she was fired from her job and forbidden to take another for the next 8 months was just as bad. Naruto had enjoyed every minute of her frustration. Hokage Tower. Tsunade was depressed at the news given to her by the female Jounin moments ago, as she had sent Jiraiya to the source of the explosion with Yuhi Kurenai as his backup. They had hoped that Naruto would be there unconscious from using so much of the demon's power. What they saw was the charred ash remains of the entire ANBU unit sent after Naruto, but not the blonde-haired youth himself, meaning he was either dead or he had escaped. So Jiraiya went on ahead to search for Naruto. I see, sending you back to report to me about your findings, said Tsunade, knowing that as skilled as Kurenai was, she was no match for Naruto even in his weakened condition, especially if the kyuubi was influencing him more and more. Yes. Jiraiya-san felt that since he was the stronger of the two of us that he stood a better chance at disabling Naruto than me, said Kurenai, who saw her Hyuga student look at her with pleading eyes before she left to leave Naruto alone. I silently hope Jiraiya doesn't catch the idiot so the kid can live a somewhat better life away from here, said Tsunade, curing her bad luck and losing that bet that made forced her to become Hokage. Whatever freedom he's gained won't last long. If Jiraiya-san doesn't find him, Akatsuki, or Orochimaru, or the hunter ninja sent out to look for him will. Is there any way you can remove the execution order given by the council? You are Hokage and you do have more power than they make you believe you don't have, said Kurenai, wondering just how bad this village had gotten without the Sandame, or the Yandame for that matter. I wish I could, Kurenai, but when Sarutobi-sensei died and Jiraiya went looking for me with Naruto, the council pulled a fast one in the logbooks. They gave themselves more power and influence over the village with the people supporting them since they all hate Naruto as well, said Tsunade, knowing that with the vast majority of the village behind the council her power was thinned as it was. For once, I almost wish the demon inside of him would possess Naruto. It would almost be a much more merciful death than the one meant for him here, said Kurenai, knowing that if the council wanted they could no doubt do horrible things to Naruto before having him executed. What better way to solidify their power than offer up a sacrifice that was ironically already used as a sacrifice for different reasons? If only I could tell the village who Naruto's parents were, said Tsunade, getting more and more frustrated with this with every passing second. Why can't you tell them? Said Kurenai, wondering who the demon vessel's parents were. Because the council won't let me, like they did the third. If the village found out, then the council would be forced to disband under the grounds for putting their own needs ahead of a Hokage or his offspring, said Tsunade, having read a few of the laws placed down concerning such matters. Wait. Naruto's father was a Hokage? But that means, oh sweet Kami, said Kurenai, as she pictured the late Yandame right next to the boy and put the two together. Yes. The only reason the council couldn't kill off Naruto back then apparently was that Sandame was going to release that piece of information should the kid be killed. It would have made the council seem heartless and make them lose all self-respect within Konoha, allowing the third to execute them all for killing the son of a Kage, said Tsunade, as she remembered how the fourth and the council butted heads like rams in a power contest when first starting out to change things for the better in Konoha. Danzo was ordered to disband Root by the third, with the soon-to-be fourth supporting it while taking on an advisory position with little to no power except the use of his own voice. Both Hamura and Koharu were to step down shortly after the fourth took office to make way for new, but still experienced blood to take over. In short, it was supposed to be a simple changing of the guard since the current Hokage at the time was getting too old and the council even older looking. That of course was before the kyuubi had come and attacked, changing the dynamics of things around them, letting the old guard stay to get their revenge on the one who support their fall from power. With his now former friends turning on the one once in charge, the professor, when he became Hokage, used all of his political strength he had left to protect Naruto from the wolves that wanted him dead. So far it did little to stop the hatred from affecting the poor boy it was aimed at. You could still tell the people and hopefully they will come around, said Kurenai, trying to fight the feeling of lead in her stomach at this knowledge given to her. Even if I did, the council is still too far into power to pry them of it now, and would no doubt spin it in their favor. They would call Naruto a disgrace to the Fourth's legacy in abandoning the village and tell everyone about the kyuubi in him. It's the perfect excuse they need to break the Third's law without being punished for it later on. I don't want to give them any more leverage than they already have, said Tsunade, sighing, wishing her little brother would come back soon. With Naruto nightfall, it's time. Are you ready? Said Kyuubi, making his appearance once more from the fire, looking at a shirtless Naruto in mediating position with the seals showing on his stomach. I sure am, said Naruto, bringing his hands together, and started making hand signs that Kyuubi showed him in his mind as demonic chakra swirled around the young boy, with his necklace glowing slightly at this interaction. Good. Repeat these words I send into your head after me out loud and complete it just as you do the final hand sign. When that happens, your chakra will redirect itself back into the seal that holds me. By doing this, the seal will then collapse, allowing my power to flow in your chakra coil system without any interference. This will allow me to take temporarily control of your body just long enough to alter your DNA for you to adjust to the full transformation. I won't lie to you, kid, this will hurt a great deal beyond anything you've ever felt before, and for a brief moment you may technically die, said Kyuubi, wanting Naruto to know the ramifications of doing this specific transformation. Let's get this thing started, said Naruto, focusing on his chakra and feeling it throughout his body while Kimimaro had a chakra barrier over him to ensure his protection. Begin, said Kyuubi, preparing himself for what was to happen and hoped for the best, knowing that if this went bad they were seriously screwed. Taking a deep breath, Naruto readied his mind and recited the words sent to him by the demon fox in his mind. Peace is a lie, there is only passion. Through passion I gain strength. Through strength I gain power. Through power I gain victory. Through victory my chain are broken, and I am free. Naruto had just finished saying the words as he landed on the final demon hand sign that Kyuubi showed that stood for fox in perfect sync. The instant that happened, Naruto felt as if the life in his body was being drained away yet not leaving his body. It was as if it was being directed to a single point in his body, being filled like a glass being filled with water to the brink of overflowing. Just as the feeling stopped, Naruto felt his heart also stopped. And just like Kyuubi said, it was in that moment that he felt as if death itself touched his very soul. It wasn't the first time this happened, since the villagers always made sure that he remembered his place in their lives. Those people, Naruto was unfortunate to meet, did die by the order of the old third Hokage, and their remains sent to the families, telling them to back off in any further attempt at attacking the child. However, with the Sandame now dead, Naruto had no doubt that if he stayed in Konoha, the stupid villagers would no doubt try to be bolder. thinking that Tsunade as their new Hokage would be merciful to them, and not care what happened to the demon boy. If and when he returned to the leaf they would find such joys of beating him up along with their days of living depending on which villagers or shinobi he encountered. Just as his heart stopped from his lack of chakra, his heart now was thumping faster than a rabbit being chased as his body had exploded with chakra, creating a spiraling tower. The demonic chakra shot upward, piercing the small mountainous area into the heavens with 9 tails like wave of chakra that soon following, tearing apart everything around. Naruto, not far away. What in the name of all things created by Kami? Thought Jiraiya, seeing the sight before him on a tree as he saw a large amount of terrain had been completely destroyed. The self-proclaimed super pervert could feel the intense and familiar taint of the strong demonic chakra all around the destroyed area. Knowing that the kyuubi had caused this some way, the Sannin headed towards his student in the hopes that the boy was alive yet unconscious. At least then Jiraiya could make the kill as painless as possible, even if he didn't want to do it in the first place. Damn council. They wouldn't even be around had it not been for the kyuubi inside of Naruto, thought Jiraiya, having been given his order by Shizen that came from Tsunade. With Naruto stood panting from the exhausting transformation with his clothing ripped, as he was now noticeable taller, and had more of muscular build that was not too bulky, but not too thin either. His hands were now claws-like when he normally called on the demonic power, his teeth were more pronounced, his eyes no longer blue, but rather purple and with fox-like slits. His once blonde hair was now longer, spikier, and with streaks of red going down from the roots straight down to the tips. His human ears were gone now, and above his head were red fox ears that were much sharper than his old ones. The only real thing that he didn't have were any of the 9 tails that would signify him as a true demon fox, which Naruto felt was slightly disappointing considering that he was supposed to be Kyuubi's heir. I know what you're thinking, kid, in regards to being tailless, but the tails only come out when you transform into your beast-like state. Like me, when you transform you will have all 9 tails at your beck and call to destroy whatever you see fit that you want destroyed, said Kyuubi, glad that it all worked out and that Naruto survived along with himself, since it would suck to die at the hands of your newly adopted son right after it was official. Good to know. Where's Kimimaro? Said Naruto, looking around, seeing the red dome-like chakra barrier shielding the albino from harm. I am here, Naruto-sama. You do not need worry about me, said Kimimaro, shocked at seeing his new master's incredible power, and was glad he sided with the demon vessel, now soon to one day be demon lord. I asked because I do worry, Kimimaro-san. I don't want you to get hurt because of me, said Naruto, canceling the barrier around the albino before kneeling down and placing a hand on Kimimaro's chest. What are you doing? Said Kimimaro, as demonic chakra came to Naruto's hands before entering the albino's chest cavity. What's it look like, Baka? I'm healing you as previously discussed between you, me, and Kyuubi earlier. Now please hold still since this is going to hurt a lot. Demonic healing art, purge of the unnatural jutsu, said Naruto, closing his eyes and focusing on the disease in question, finding the sickly remains of the illness before burning it out of the albino's body. Naruto wasn't surprised that Kimimaro held back his scream for solid 10 seconds before letting it out for all of Fire Country to hear his cries. When the jutsu was done, there was a smoking imprint of Naruto's hand on Kimimaro's chest area, with the said albino breathing heavily from the event. However, it was clearly noticeable that the breathing was smoother instead of the strained breaths Kimimaro had always taken originally due to the disease. I'm uncured? Said Kimimaro, finding almost hard to believe since he had been just moments ago plagued with a deadly illness. Yep. You were told that you would be cured and now you are. Now let's get the hell out of here before someone comes to investigate these series of events, said Naruto, sensing a figure fast approaching who had pretty strong chakra levels. Yes, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro, rising up slowly from the ground, trying not to fall in front of his master before looking at his surroundings. Naruto, said Jiraiya, appearing before the two shinobi on a large horse-sized battle-toad dressed in heavy armor. Well, if it isn't good old Ero Sennin. Have you come to do what 8 Anbu teams could not? I know all about the order to kill me by the council and how the old hag was just too spineless to fight back with everything she had, said Naruto, seeing the surprised look on Jiraiya's face at him, knowing the truth about that. Her hands were tied, Naruto. The council saw their chance to finally kill you over the fact that you failed mission to retrieve Sasuke, said Jiraiya, only to feel an increased amount of killer intent coming from Naruto, his eyes glowing red. They wanted to kill me over one failed mission, Ero Sennin? For some Uchiha who left willingly? Did you ever fail a mission? Of course you did. No one is perfect. You can't expect a small team of genin and one chunin to go after the Uchiha to come out on top, especially when he's being protected by the personal bodyguards of Orochimaru, said Naruto, getting pissed at everyone screwing him over and the ones that supposedly care not having the guts to help out of fear of being labeled something they were ashamed of being called. I guess it's true what they say. When good men do nothing it's evil enough, or is it the phrase evil triumphs? Maybe it's both, thought Jiraiya, knowing he had failed the fourth and like Tsunade was still living in the past with his peeping rather than taking Naruto's training seriously. You tell that council and the arrogant villagers I'm dead because I am no longer the person known as Uzumaki Naruto. I am Kyuubi Naruto, the son of the Demon King, said Naruto, turning around and walking away with Kimimaro right behind him. Naruto, stop. I don't want to kill you, But I will, said Jiraiya, his toad leaping over the two and in front of them with Jiraiya forming a Rasengan in his right hand. Come against Naruto-sama and I will not hesitate to kill you, said Kimimaro using his bloodline and got into fighting position despite his slightly weakened condition. You should listen him, Ero Sennin. This guy right next to me was once handpicked as the Hebe team's prized vessel before Sasuke, but the disease that I removed took that option away. I can also imagine Kimimaro is now stronger than your old teammate Ero Sennin, and despite my albino friend's current condition, I think with me added into the mix, you just don't know how things will end up for you, said Naruto, smiling a devious smile that made Jiraiya nervous. Naruto, said Jiraiya, only to be silenced by the killer intent the boy was giving off. Sorry? Is that the word you were going to say, Ero Sennin? Figure since that is the only word you can say to me while trying to justify yourself to me. Go back to the old hag and tell her that you were no match for me and I showed you mercy since she will need your help to hold off the Leaf's enemies a little while longer. Now that the Uchiha is in Orochimaru's hands, I think she'll need all the help she can get to fend off both them and the Akatsuki. Oh, and Ero Sennin, keep Kimimaro out of your report to the old hag since we don't want Orochimaru finding out about him from his spies and then trying to pursue my friend here, to use for another body some 3 years down the road, said Naruto before he and Kimimaro walked around the giant toad and Jiraiya, knowing that the man would more or less not pursue them out of the knowledge that the former demon vessel was right. He's right, I can't fight much less kill him, or the other guy if what Naruto said was true about his strength. Orochimaru only picked the strongest of potential shinobi around him in becoming his vessel, and if this albino kid was really considered the candidate with the disease before choosing Sasuke, then there is a good chance I could have lost, thought Jiraiya, letting his head hang in shame knowing he had failed to do what was asked of him by the Hokage. Jiraiya, what do you want to do now? You want me to go after him? Said the toad looking up at his summoner, who shook his head slowly. No. Take me back to Konoha. I have to give Tsunade the bad news, said Jiraiya, his voice lacking emotion, knowing that when word got out what transpired here things were going to go from bad to worse, as if they could get any worse. I'll have to tell Gamabunta about this. He really was attached to the kid, you know. It will break his old toad heart, said the toad, leaping off back to Konoha. If Tsunade doesn't kill me, he certainly can, said Jiraiya, not really caring about who beat the crap out of him in regards to this. Either way, Jiraiya felt dead inside. Several days later, those we seek are in the land of waves, Naruto-sama? Said Kimimaro, frowning at the sight of the territory with the large bridge stretching connecting it to the mainland. Yes, Kimimaro. This is also the place that I helped believe in heroes again and treated me as one too. You will show all of them the respect they deserve while we're here, said Naruto, heading towards the bridge with Kimimaro nodding in understanding. As you command, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro, knowing that if these people respect his master he could respect them in return. We can only stay here for a few days since that damn council back in Konoha will not take Jiraiya's failure to kill you lightly. They will search every spot that you've been to that you are on good terms with due to outside missions, and this is one on a very small list, said Kyuubi, knowing it was only a matter of time before hunter ninjas were sent to find him here. What I have in mind won't take long, father. Besides, I need a new set of clothing since what I have is kind of irritating me, said Naruto, knowing that it didn't matter if he spoke out loud to his father since Kimimaro knew who he was talking about. It didn't take long for them to cross the bridge and meet the thriving populace of Wave, who greeted Naruto despite being a little concerned by his changes. They weren't afraid of him, mind you, but they were more surprised than anything by his new look since they last saw him only a few months ago. Naruto and Ai-chan, said Inari, having run up to hug the older boy, embracing his hero and surrogate brother, having missed him after just a few months. Hey Inari. Everything okay here in Wave Country? Said Naruto, smiling at the smiling boy before him, seeing happiness in those eyes. You bet. Our daimyo even named a holiday in honor of you. We call it Heroes Day to honor heroes like you, Nichan. But can I ask you a question? Said Inari, finally noticing the new look his brother was sporting. Is it about my appearance? Tell you what, you take both me and my friend Kimimaro here to your house, I'll tell you all about it, said Naruto, seeing Inari nod his head up and down excitedly at having his big brother back home. They truly do care about Naruto-sama. This is a place where heroes are respected and is worth fighting for, thought Kimimaro, seeing looks of respect towards his master, as Inari led them to his house where his mother and grandfather currently were. To say that both Tsunami and Tazuna were surprised was an understatement, as she gave Naruto a hug while Tazuna broke out another bottle to drink in honor of the kid's return. Granted, the old man was going to open another bottle regardless, but now he had a whole new reason and special occasion too, which made it all the sweeter. After Naruto explained all that happened to him, from his supposed execution that was supposed to take place in Konoha, to the point where he became the son of Kyuubi, and then to introducing Kimimaro to them, the family was quite shocked. The once poor family had understood when they first met the boy that Naruto didn't exactly have the best childhood, and now they knew the reason why. To think they would hate you because you have the demon sealed inside of you, or on the belief that you are the fox in human form. That's just pathetic. Well, I'm going to talk to the daimyo about this and see if we can't stick it to those assholes back in Konoha, said Tazuna in a slightly drunken haze, but still sober enough to speak his mind. Father! Mind your language in front of Inari, said Tsunami, scolding her father for his choice of language in front of her child. Thanks, Tazuna, I appreciate it. I know a few places you can branch out from in terms of trade. You can give your daimyo when you speak to him. Just tell him that the hero from Wave gave them his personal recommendations for doing business with, said Naruto before writing down the places that they should try for trading and gave it to the old man, who read over the list several times. Snow Country? Really? Wow. If you think they will help us in trading with us, I'm all for it, kid, especially after I heard that the place became the exact opposite of its name now after a certain shinobi paid it a little visit. I think the princess there was able to rename it Spring Country or something like that, said Tazuna, seeing several shinobi villages on the list, which was good since they weren't going to do business with Konoha anymore. You mean Princess Yuki? Yeah, I know her. I helped her believe that heroes do exist and helped her country get back on its feet. Trust me when I say that she will be more than happy to do business with you for a long time, Tazuna-san. Provided of course that you are sober during the negotiations of the trade agreement between Wave and Spring, said Naruto, knowing that trade between the two countries would do wonders for the both of them. Sweet, said Inari, knowing that Wave was going to prosper even further thanks to his Nichan. Forgive me for interrupting your conversation, Naruto-sama, but we are on a very tight schedule and need a change of clothing before we set out on our mission, said Kimimaro, hoping he was doing the right thing in terms of bringing up their business in front of this innocent family. No, you are right, Kimimaro, we do have things to do, and we need to do them quickly. Tsunami-chan, do you know of a tailor me and Kimimaro can go to for clothing? Said Naruto, looking at the woman before him, who nodded and gave him directions to a place that had set up shop only a few weeks ago. With the information at hand, the two shinobi head out to the store, with Inari going with them to make sure they got there and to see their new looks firsthand. Since his Nichan had ripped pants and barely fitting shirt, while his albino friend was shirtless with dark baggy pants, it was clear that they needed a look that would show they were completely badass. Quite frankly, Inari wouldn't have it any other way. Konoha Hokage Tower, damn that demon hell spawn! We lost the team of A and BU to him, and the Toad Sannin was apparently powerless to stop him, and showed mercy to prove how weak we've become, said Danzo, slamming his good hand on the desk in front of his fellow council members, who all nodded in agreement. This information about him become the kyuubi's son is most frightening indeed. If we do nothing, then Konoha will fall before it has had a chance to recover from the damage we suffered during the sand/sound invasion, said a civilian council member, who was well known to being in Danzo's pocket in terms of support for the Warhawk. Many if not all of the clan heirs are quite upset at what has happened to the demon boy, while only the Haruno child is still devoted to the last Uchiha. Apparently, the demon has had a powerful influence on them, and those that are not in the hospital are becoming somewhat hostile to the villagers. Even more so are some of the shinobi that knew and like the damn demon, who know more about his childhood. The old woman in charge of the orphanage that would try to starve the vessel was found hanged in the village square with her guts and eyes ripped out, with no witnesses to how she got there. We suspect it was one if not several of the more skilled Jounin ninja loyal to the late 4th and 3rd Hokage, but we can't prove which ones, said Kohara, sighing at this, as the village was not as stable as they had all hoped it would be. Somewhere in Konoha, in a dango restaurant, Enko, and Hana sneezed loudly while Ibiki held his in after sensing it coming. Having his name mentioned so many times by the late 3rd, 4th, and current 5th Hokage had its advantages for Ibiki having developed a sixth sense to these things. We will deal with those demon lovers as time passes while we wait for the demon to make another appearance in the other countries before we can plan an attack strategy. In addition to our outer attack plan, we will focus on an inner attack strategy to kill him. I know how the demon thinks, and sooner or later the beast will re-enter Konoha to save his precious people, and when he does we will strike him down with all our might. With the creature gone, the people will love us and will see that Tsunade was wrong to support the demon spawn. They will see that we, the council, not the Hokage, is needed to ensure that Konoha's future shines as brightly as the sun itself, said Danzo, knowing that with the order out to kill the kyuubi vessel/sun on sight and effect, the abomination was as good as dead. Those poor, stupid, unfortunate, and arrogant souls. Naruto and Kimimaro followed Inari to the clothing shop Tsunami mentioned to find that the place had everything they needed. Apparently a former merchant from Water Country had somehow managed to get out of the chaotic and unstable place to set up shop in a now stable Wave Country. They had everything from clothes to weapons, and even low-level water jutsus with instructions on how to combine their power with certain weapons to make them much more lethal. Good day, young masters, how may I be of service to you? Said the store owner, bowing his head towards the three boys. My brother and his friend here need fresh clothing since they just went through hell and back, said Inari, smiling at the man and the fact he could finally curse without his mom around to scold him like she did her old man. Of course, and may I suggest some weapons perhaps? Said the store owner, seeing that the two older boys were clearly shinobi from their stances. Kunai and shuriken for us, but nothing more than that, said Naruto, knowing that his father's den had more than its fair share of weapons. Very good, young masters, very good. Now if you will come with me, I'll simply get your measurements and get you the clothing you desire, said the store owner, leading the two farther back while Inari stayed to secretly stand guard. In Konoha Hokage Tower, you want to send another team after him, Tsunade-sama? Said Shizen, looking at her teacher with shock, knowing that not just anyone could be sent to retrieve Naruto. I have no choice, Shizen. The council wasn't exactly pleased with Jiraiya's failure to kill, much less return Naruto for them to kill themselves. Those old cranes demanded that I send another team regardless of them being overpowered or not. Since they overruled me, I have no choice but fortunately for me I intend to choose which team is suitable for the task, said Tsunade, though she wished that the council would just simply leave the boy alone. Who are you going to send? Said Shizen, knowing that her teacher must have a plan of some sort should the team successfully return Naruto. Shino, for one, despite being out on a mission with his father, could help in this situation in helping Naruto see some way in coming home without force. Hinata is another choice. She has a crush on the boy, which I hope that with her kind nature and presence would stem the hate in his heart. I was thinking of sending Sakura, but after I found out about her hostility towards Naruto when he got back from the mission, I'm moving against that. I'll also send Guy and Anko as their squad leaders, knowing that if the situation gets out of hand, those two can hopefully at least stall Naruto long enough for the others to possibly get away from his wrath, said Tsunade, knowing that the last thing she needed right now was a slaughter of several future clan heads. I'll get them right away, Tsunade-sama, said Shizen, heading out to retrieve them. I just hope this doesn't backfire on me, said Tsunade, wishing the council would get off her back about Naruto since they were the reason he was like this in the first place. Wave Country several hours later. So how do you like your new clothes, young masters? Said the store owner, seeing that Kimimaro was wearing black combat boots, black baggy NBU pants, a blood-red shirt with the kanji symbol for Sin of Mankind on the back, and a mask covering the lower half of his mouth with the mask showing fang teeth. They are quite good. Thank you, Chimera-san, said Naruto, who now wore an old-style shinobi black bodysuit with the kanji symbol for Death's Master on the back in blood red. The honor is all mine, Naruto-sama. As for the price on these, I give them to you on the house to show my appreciation for a hero like yourself. You brought life and hope to this once dying place, so it's only fitting that I show you how much that means to me. After Water Country started to fall apart, I was beginning to believe the world was going to fall into a form of dark age after seeing life in this place. I'm happy to know that I was wrong, said Chimera, as he had been told all about Naruto when he first set up shop in Wave. Naruto-sama will soon accomplish many things in the years to come, Chimera-san, that I can assure you, said Kimimaro, as the two walked out with Inari seeing and giving them 2 thumbs up, saying they looked like they were ready to kick some ass. Konoha Hokage Tower. Sakura and Kakashi sat before the Hokage in her office, both squirming slightly under the hawk-like gaze of the busted woman, who was not exactly pleased with either of them at the moment. Tsunade had read reports on the favoritism Kakashi showed Sasuke and the verbal abuse Sakura gave Naruto right after the failed mission to retrieve the Uchiha. It was also clear that the two knew why they were now sitting in her office, since they both looked guilty. I don't suppose either of you have anything to say to me in your defense in regards to your actions towards Naruto? Said Tsunade, looking at the two. Hokage-sama, I know I didn't spend as much time as I should have with Naruto, or even Sakura here in terms of training like I did Sasuke. However, Uchiha Sasuke is clearly the most talented of the three, since he beat Naruto at the Valley of the End despite the aid of the Cursed Seal, said Kakashi, hoping it would help justify his reason in favoring Sasuke. I know I yelled at Naruto earlier at the hospital, but the Baka deserved it. He promised he would bring Sasuke-kun back to me and he failed to keep it, said Sakura, knowing she had her own reason for doing it, and after her parents praised her for it, she had felt quite pleased with herself. That is, of course, until Tsunade summoned Sakura to her office for a little talk, as the female leader of the village put it. So you two feel your feelings toward Naruto are justified all because of Sasuke is an Uchiha and a broken promise that nearly killed Naruto after the fight? Tell me, Kakashi, after examining Naruto's wounds, can you tell me what move was used to nearly kill your student? Tell me, Sakura, who beat Sabaku no Gaara during the invasion that saved your miserable life, said Tsunade, her voice becoming dark now and her eyes narrowed even further. My original jutsu, the Chidori I taught Sasuke in order to fight Gaara for his match at the Chunin exams, said Kakashi, knowing that the boy would need it to fight difficult opponents. Sasuke-kun saved me. I know he told me it was Naruto, but that's just Sasuke-kun being modest and caring, said Sakura in her fangirl-like state, not seeing the furious look now held in Tsunade's eyes. You both disgust me. Kakashi, you teach Sasuke your prized Chidori thinking it would defeat Gaara, but you taught Naruto nothing, knowing he was facing the Hyuga prodigy of the Hyuga branch clan. Also, what would have happened if Sasuke had lost to Gaara had Orochimaru not interrupted it? If it wasn't for my old teammate teaching Naruto at the time, then your moronic choice of a substitute, then Naruto would have lost, said Tsunade, scowling further at the man before her, knowing he shouldn't have taught the Chidori to Sasuke no matter what the man said. That Baka would have lost anyway. He just got lucky, said Sakura, not caring any more about how she should talk to Naruto since he was no longer in the village. He did far better than you to get to the finals, Haruno, so don't think you are all high and mighty in comparison to him. Also, in case you need another reality check, Naruto was the one that defeated Gaara, not Sasuke, and I have all the reports from the Suna siblings to prove it. Had it not been for Naruto's intervention to save you, Sakura, Gaara's power over the sand that held you at his mercy would have crushed you like an insect, said an angry Tsunade, who saw Sakura scowling slightly as she looked away, not believing that it was Naruto that saved her and not Sasuke. I take it that's not the only reason you called us here, is it? Said Kakashi, knowing that when the Hokage decides to punish you, it's quite a punishment. What was your first guess? Starting right now, Kakashi, you are hereby demoted back to Chunin and to learn what it means to be a team player. You are also forbidden to go to the Memorial Stone until I see that you will no longer become lazy because of it. As for you, Sakura, I'm sending you back to the academy to relearn everything from certain female instructors I'm placing there that I'm hoping will beat the living hell out of the fangirl residing in you. Whether they do this literally or figuratively to you during your training is their choice. If you don't like it, then stop being a leaf shinobi altogether, said Tsunade, seeing the shocked looks on both their faces. With that argument over, Tsunade went back to the mountainous pile of paperwork that now stood before her. How she hated this job. Elsewhere in Konoha, Jiraiya sighed as he stared at Konoha from his spot, seeing how people were having little celebrated events concerning Naruto leaving, not caring that the boy had kept them safe for the past 12 plus years. The boy had been hated by so many and loved by too few in his life growing up in the village that thought of him as a demon. Given the alternative being executed, I guess the idea of being the son of Kyuubi is not as bad as it sounds. Hell, I would probably follow through with it if I was constantly treated like crap for most of my whole beginning years of life. Thought Jiraiya was ashamed that he himself couldn't protect Naruto all those years that forced the boy to abandon his life as a human being and actually became Kyuubi's son. When he told the Hokage, she wasn't exactly thrilled. Flashback. What do you mean Naruto has declared himself the son of Kyuubi? Said Tsunade, now looking pissed off like the day she caught Jiraiya peeping on her and beat him within an inch of his life. I'm afraid it's the truth, Tsunade. Whatever happened to Naruto came directly from the Kyuubi himself. I don't know if the demon manipulated him into it, or if the kid simply let it happen out of a moment of weakness for what was going to happen to him here in Konoha on account of his soon-to-be execution. However, I can say this, from what I felt from Naruto, he is no longer human anymore, Tsunade, and may have even transformed himself into a full-fledged demon fox, said Jiraiya before he let out a sigh, knowing this would not go over well in the village when people found out about this. Damn it! If the council finds out about this, then they have more support from the public in wanting Naruto dead. What better way to exact revenge on the Kyuubi than killing his proclaimed son, said Tsunade, sighing at that fact, not liking it one bit. It's not just that, Tsunade. When I looked into Naruto's eyes, I saw none of the happiness they used to hold, but rather near limitless amount of rage swirling within them. He was so angry at me, at us, and basically everyone else here in Konoha for making his life so damn miserable. He wants nothing to do with us, Tsunade, whether we're his friends or not, and I think the best thing to do is leave him alone to be himself. Naruto won't return to finish what Kyuubi started, that I'm sure of, but if we confront and provoke him, that just may be a different story, said Jiraiya, noticing the heartbreaking look Tsunade now had on her face. How can you say that, Jiraiya? I won't rest until he's brought back to Konoha. Screw the council and their united vote to give the execution order. I will do everything that is in my power and beyond to ensure Naruto's safety in this village when he is brought back, said Tsunade, not wanting to lose the boy she had become so fond of and had breathed new life into her body. You say that now, Tsunade, but the real question is, can you actually back up your claim if you succeed? Said Jiraiya before leaping out the window. And flashback. Jiraiya sighed again, remembering how the urge to do some research at the hot springs seemed to die in him now that Naruto was gone. The kid had so much potential to be his successor to his book on account of the sexy jutsu, which would have allowed Naruto to actually go into the women's side of the hot springs and not get beat up. I mean, it was brilliant if not genius. Aside from that though, the kid was the closest thing Jiraiya had left of his previous and deceased student that was the Yondaime. Now that Naruto was gone, by renouncing his life as a human being and replacing it with the demons, Jiraiya felt as if part of him died as well. He wanted his new student to be as strong and hopefully just as perverted as he was when Naruto got older. But this whole thing with the council ordering his execution had shot it all to hell. I wonder what Kami's judgment of me will be when I die. Will he be merciful, or is Kami really a woman and hates perverts? Please be the former, thought Jiraiya, though deep down he knew that it was probably the latter, and he was most likely screwed. Wave Country. So this is Wave Country, huh? Looks much better than what I had heard when that pig of a man Gato ruled over this place, said Anko, having used her snakes to pick up Naruto's trail to Wave Country. It seems logical that Naruto would come here, considering it is the closest place in his heart to a second home when away from Konoha, said Shino, his bugs telling him that there was a second chakra signature with Naruto's, though it was masked by the demonic presence of their comrade. Do you really think that in Naruto-kun W will come be back with us if WEA ask H him to? Said Hinata, wondering what her crush looked like now that they had all been informed by Tsunade of his changes. YOSH. I believe Naruto's flames of youth while changed still burn brightly, and should not be counted out in rejoining the leaf once more, said Guy, giving the girl a shiny smile with a thumbs up. Yeah, if the council and villagers don't kill him first, said Anko, though it was more to herself than the others. As the group made their way to the bridge, they saw the plaque on the side, making them stop in shock and surprise when they read it. Now crossing the great Uzumaki Naruto Bridge. Named in honor of the very hero that inspired us to believe that heroes really do exist. Naruto-kun has a bridge of this magnitude named after him and is considered a true hero in their eyes, thought Hinata, in awe of her crush being seen by others as a hero too. Well, I'll be dipped in chocolate naked. This bridge is huge and it's named after the little run for being heroic, said Anko, shaking her while smirking, while Shino tried to hide his blush at the special Jounen's words. Let us enter and see if we cannot find our lost comrade, said Guy before rushing across the bridge to find Naruto with the others in tow. Zabuza's and Haku's graves. Are these the ones, Naruto-sama? said Kimimaro to Naruto, with Inari not far behind to be their lookout, since this was a very delicate procedure they were doing. The 8-year-old kid had been told what they were going to do, and while Inari was freaked out by it, he was assured they wouldn't go about eating people brains like those zombie movies everyone was talking about. Inari understood, but still felt his stomach wouldn't be able to handle the sight of 2 people rising from the dead, and when asked why they couldn't do it for his father, Naruto told him that Kaiza had been dead for too long. With Zabuza and Haku, they still had a chance to bring back from the dead since they had been decreased for less than 2 months, while Kaiza had been dead much longer past the time needed to bring the man back to life. However, Naruto assured Inari that if there had still been time for Kaiza to be revived, that he would have been the first in being resurrected just to make the boy's mother happy. Inari understood, knowing that Naruto would always use his power to take away the pain of a person or family that didn't deserve such suffering. Yes, Kimimaro-san, these are 2 shinobi that were the first outside of Konoha that I had ever come to respect. You will stand watch with Inari while I perform the demonic ritual needed to revive them. I sense familiar chakra signatures have just entered Wave Country, and this will no doubt bring them here. Once I am done, you are to take us back to Tazuna's house before we are spotted, said Naruto, getting a nod from the albino, who walked over to Inari to tell him of the plan. I'll take over from here, Kit. You are still new to this whole thing, so it's best if I do this with you watching and learning on the side, said Kyuubi, knowing that only through his experience could this work. As you wish, father, I trust your reasoning, thought Naruto, bowing his head slightly as his new father possessed his body. In the name of the Demon King, all that is darkness and damnation, I call upon the 2 spirits of the underworld to hear me. I command both Momochi, Zabuza and Haku to come forth from the underworld to return to their bodies so they may live and rise once again. As the ruler of hell, I command you to rise again. Demon secret art, rise from the grave jutsu, said Kyuubi after completing the hand signs, and slammed his hands into the ground, sending a blast of demonic chakra towards the 2 graves. Once the demonic chakra made contact with the graves, the earth surrounding it rumbled and shook violently beneath Naruto's feet. Soon 2 sets of hands shot out of the ground with the bodies attached, rising as they let out gasps for breaths as well as letting out loud screams of pain from having their souls reattached to their bodies. Naruto, or rather it was Kyuubi now possessing Naruto's body, who raised his hands and shot demonic chakra at them, making it look like they were being electrocuted by red lightning. Such power, thought Kimimaro, seeing the massive amount of chakra being launched at the 2 former corpses of the earth. Inari thought the same thing. Meanwhile, in Wave Country, Hinata was nervous, looking for her friend and crush while walking amongst the populace of Wave Country when she saw the people looking at her with disdain in their eyes. It had made her feel unwelcome in her mind, just like when she was back home while near some of the traditionalized Hyuga clan elders, and how they all thought she was weak. Geez, they were fine with Naruto and Team 7 after they saved them all from Gato, but not us. No respect, said Anko, crossing her arms as she was disappointed in how these people were looking at her team. It's not that, Anko-san. It's something else entirely different. My bugs tell me that they have found out about what was going to happen to Naruto, and don't feel like welcoming his potential executioners into their country, said Shino, sensing the anger from these people and his bugs telling him to be careful. Good point, said Anko, scowling a little because of Konoha's bigots and fools that had caused this and wanting the kid dead. The real question is where Naruto could be hiding? Said Guy, rubbing his finger against his chin in thought. Oh, let's try Tadazuna-san's H house. T the man W was the C client that H hired Naruto-kun's T team, said Hinata, blushing slightly at the thought of being right and seeing her crush again. It would seem logical that Naruto would stay with someone he knows that will take him in without question, said Shino, who got a nod from them group and headed out only to stop when they felt the surge of immense power coming to the east of their position. What the hell? Said Anko, feeling the demonic presence behind the sheer volume of power being unleashed. Naruto-kun, thought Hinata, worriedly using her Byakugan to see the demonic power being generated was so massive that even her father would quake in fear of such strength now within her sights. Let's go, said Guy, heading off with the others behind him. Weary Alivi? Said Zabuza, looking at Haku and himself before looking at what appeared to be an exhausted Naruto standing before them. Save your strength, Zabuza. You too, Haku. I brought you both back from the depths of hell and beyond so that you may help me in my future endeavors, said Naruto, panting heavily, sweating up a storm at all the chakra Kyuubi used while possessing his body. Naruto-sama. I sense shinobi are approaching. I sent Inari home feeling he might be used against you, said Kimimaro, knowing that Inari, while a brave young boy already, could be used as a bargaining chip for his master to surrender, and the albino would have none of that happening. Thanks, Kimimaro. Take these 2 and the sword to Tazuna's house. They must not be seen, or else knowledge of their existence will be brought to both Konoha and Mist. We can't allow that to happen, said Naruto, feeling his power slowly returning to him, and the breaths evening out at a slower pace. I cannot leave without you, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro, not wanting to abandon the young demon heir at a moment of danger. You will do as I have asked of you, Kimimaro. I need to cover the graves so they don't suspect a thing. Even in my weakened condition I can hold them off, so do not worry, said Naruto, seeing Kimimaro reluctantly bow before he picked up the 2 bodies and took off. Are you sure you can handle this? Said Kyuubi, looking at his son in the boy's now redesigned mindscape that looked like the inside den area of a large house complete with a fireplace and everything. On a scale of 1 to 10? I give myself 7, thought Naruto, as he proceeded to cover up the graves quickly to make it look like they were undisturbed. With the retrieval team, Hinata ran as fast as her legs would allow her to go, with her being a close second behind Anko, who was trailing slightly behind Guy, and Shino was several feet back due to his large coat creating wind resistance. The Hyuga heiress hoped she would see Naruto soon, since all she wanted was to see her crush, even if it was just one more time, if only that. She had seen the hatred the village unleashed upon him and how they were cruel to him by not allowing him in stores, chasing him away from restaurants, and on his birthday of all days she never saw him, since it was also the day of the kyuubi festival. Even if I can just see Naruto-kun one more time, that's all I need before he goes. I want to tell him how I feel so he knows that at least one person cared about him when no one else did, thought Hinata, as she and the team soon reached their destination with Naruto standing there looking past the two graves with his back to them. My bugs tell me he has changed. No, not changed, but rather he has become something different altogether than the rest of us. That and his mood has changed since we last saw him, thought Shino, frowning as he stared at this new Naruto like the rest of the group did while slowly walking forward. Come to watch the scenery with me? Said Naruto, turning his gaze to the shock team, not expecting him to sense them since they had been so quiet. Tizuna's house. Tsunami-san, I need your assistance with these two, please, said Kimimaro, who gave Haku to the young woman, who placed the boy on a chair, and the albino placed Sabuza on the nearby sofa. I can't believe the kid revived these two. I hope he did the right thing, said Tizuna, as he watched the two with a careful, drunken eye, since he had past history with these two guys. Naruto-sama brought them back to life for a reason, and I trust his judgment. I hope you also understand why he cannot do that for the man named Kaiza, said Kimimaro, since Inari had already been given the explanation. It's all right, my pasty white friend. Kaiza is in heaven right now, so it would be rude to pull him out of there as it is, said Tizuna, knowing that Tsunami would understand since Inari, and he himself already did. Do you think Naruto and Ai-san will make it back before saying goodbye? Said Inari, who was slightly worried that his hero and brother would fall due to his weakened state. I have seen and felt Naruto-sama's power before I was in his service. I can tell you now without fear of being wrong that my master will not fall no matter the odds stacked against him, said Kimimaro, looking out at the window closest to him before he went back to taking care of Zabuza. At the graves, you all seemed surprised that I sensed you. Your stealth itself was good, but you forgot to hide your chakra signatures, and while this is not your fault, I could hear Shino's bugs buzzing around in his body. You really should try to earn to keep those guys quiet, said Naruto, smirking as he turned around to fully face them. Uzumaki Naruto. We were asked by the 5th Hokage herself to try and bring you back to Konoha one last time. Comply with her wishes or you will be taken by force, said Anko, knowing that the kid would sooner resist rather than simply okay take me to my execution. Naruto could see the hesitant look in Hinata's eyes when Anko mentioned the last part, and that made the demon fox prince curious as to why she was even chosen. He knew the girl was shy by nature, no doubt due to the expectations set by her damned clan, and that sending her to possibly fight him would be like sending a cow to the slaughterhouse if he was as evil as everyone made him out to be. Why should I comply with her wishes? So she can watch me be executed? To die for all the public to see? To simply end the pain of the villagers and shinobi? When I had no say in mine. You know what I'm talking about, right, Anko-san? I've seen the looks people give you, both civilian and shinobi alike. How many people have assaulted you? Beat you to a bloody pulp? How many times did they starve you? How did you handle receiving outdated and rusty weapons that you paid for triple the price of the good stuff? I bet that trench coat of yours and a year's supply of dango you suffer through some way with the questions I just asked you. So if you can look me straight in the face and tell me that you were treated nicely by the village after what happened to you with the Sannin, then I will come back with you, said Naruto, looking right in the eyes with his piercing hers, making Anko flinch at the impact they had, and knew that Naruto knew that her life wasn't all joy and games either. The Hokage wanted us to tell you she had a plan to save you, but it will only work if you return, said Shino, since it was true that the woman did have some kind of plan even if they didn't know what it was. Let me guess, she'll either have me locked away for a few years before she can request an audience with the fire daimyo to hear my case, or seal off my chakra permanently to appeal the masses, thinking the demon is vulnerable to attacks, thus making me a bigger target than ever. I'll pass on both, since I know she'll fail to amuse the council with the idea. They know that Jiraiya could undo any sealing done to me and that the fire daimyo will punish them if he gets his audience with the old head concerning me, since he favored the 3rd and 4th Hokage. The council tried so hard to gain some form of influence over him with the advisors they sent over to try and gain his favor with suggestions that he didn't like. Fortunately, the man has a good heart, and can see past prejudice and hate unlike most of the assholes in Konoha, so I don't have to worry about the council trying to use him to make me become labeled as a fire country-wide menace, said Naruto, now smiling a feigned smile, making Guy and Shino shiver in fear while Anko was close to it. The only one not shivering was Hinata, because by some act of kami or her own power, she wasn't sure, she found herself moving towards Naruto, walking slow careful steps as if the last one would make her trip and fall on her face. Hinata, what are you doing? Said Anko, seeing Hinata walking toward him without any weapon in hand or chakra in her hands for a gentle fist strike. That's what I'd like to know, thought Naruto, turning his gaze right to Hinata. who had somehow managed to get within near arm distance of him yet made no move in form of attacking or anything like that. Hinata herself didn't know why she was doing this, as she just felt that she had to move closer to him to look him in the eyes, and tell him how she felt before she possibly lost him forever. She wanted her hands to touch his whisker marks, to look into his once blue now red silted eyes, tell him without wavering that she cared about him, and to plead with him to come back to Konoha so they could be together. She would have her father use all his political strength to save boy somehow. Hinata knew the Hyuga clan's power held much sway in the ways of the political arena, and as a plus her father had no grievances with Naruto whatsoever. See me now as I see you, Naruto-kun, thought Hinata, as she slowly stared up at him, looked into his eyes showing all the love she had for him that they could create, in the hopes he would know that no matter, that she cared, and would stay with him to the end. Stupid girl. Kurenai is going to kill me, thought Anko, knowing that if she tried to throw anything she might hit Hinata and then she would be in a world of trouble. Naruto-kun, please don't leave us. The other rookies need you now. Tsunade-sama sent us because she needs you, and I need you as well. You mean everything to me, Naruto-kun. You are my strength, my courage, and my very inspiration to improve myself. If you leave now it would be as if you died, and I don't think my heart could take it, said Hinata, moving even closer to him and placing a hand on his whiskered cheek. There is no lie in her words. She really does care, thought Naruto, finding the touch of her hands soothing and the smell of lavenders that came off of her consuming his sense of smell. Please come back, Naruto-kun? My father can protect you from the council if you come back. I know he could, since you have done so much for me and Niji. When I get stronger I want you to be there to see it, and tell me how proud you are of me with my progress to get stronger, said Hinata, looking at the boy, who seemed to be lost in thought. Hinata, your words are sincere as you are sweet. However, despite your good intentions I cannot go back, not simply because I am a shinobi, who ran away from Konoha, but due to the fact that I will be killed when news reaches everyone that I am now truly a demon. The son of Kyuubi, to be more precise, said Naruto, looking at Hinata's pained eyes, and stroked her cheek affectionately before breathing in her scent while trying to remember every second of it. I don't care if you're a demon now. I just want to be with you, Naruto-kun, because I love you. I need you because I love you with all my heart, said Hinata, looking up at the boy, who seemed surprised by this declaration since he never really felt love in his life up until now. Naruto, we can't stay here forever. Kimimaro will get worried eventually and look for us, making him noticeable to Konoha as well as the world at too soon a time. Tell the shy Hyuga that you will one day return to see her, but not for several years, said Kyuubi, knowing that it would have to do since it was he could do to stop this girl's heart from shattering. Hinata, I'll always be with you, but where I go you cannot follow, and even if you tried I don't want you to, for I promise you that I will return to see you, said Naruto, kissing her forehead, making Hinata's face turn redder than a cherry at picking time. Why, you mean it? Said Hinata, her voice now a whisper due to the impact of her crush kissing her on her forehead. Her lips would have been better, but Hinata wasn't about to complain. Of course. Once a demon lord makes a promise he is honor-bound to keep. But don't tell anyone that or else we'll both get into a lot of trouble, said Naruto in a tiny whisper of his own, since they did have an audience with them. When will I see you again? Said Hinata, taking several steps back, not noticing that the people behind her were now telling to move away to get a clear shot. I'll be wandering around in 3 years after my training in Demon World to do my own thing so I can make a good name for myself. Get strong, Hinata, I'll be waiting for you, said Naruto, winking at her before he was consumed in flame and vanished, leaving only ash behind from the grass beneath his feet. Damn it! Hinata, you do know that we have to report this, right? Hinata? Said Anko, now looking at the girl whose face was glowing so much everyone around her thought she was radioactive. Naruto-kun, kiss me, said Hinata in a whisper before collapsing under a faint spell with steam coming out of her ears. Okay, I think we can all agree to take this last part out of our report. Last thing her clan needs to hear is their heiress falling for demon royalty, said Anko, getting a nod from the other two since it wouldn't look good in the eyes of the clan elders and some of the main family. To Zuna's house. I'm afraid the time has come for us to go, said Naruto, right after he appeared in a swirl of flame, shocking everyone in the room since no one knew he could do that. Naruto and I-san, said Inari, rushing to his big brother, and gives him a hug. What do you mean you have to go, Naruto? Said Tsunami, showing worry on her face. Yeah. You just got here. Come on and stay a while, have a drink, marry my daughter, said Tazuna in a drunken state, only slapped in the back of his head by Tsunami. I wish I could, but I'm afraid I can't. Shinobi are after me and I can't have them find out I'm here with all of you. Kimimaro, once they are more awake and able to move, I need you to tell them about the plan. Tell them of their purpose in returning from the grave, and tell them that while you three are spying for me that they are to get stronger as well. They will not be relying on their water jutsus or bloodlines, but trying to use other things so they don't become recognizable to anyone. Only use those styles as a last resort, since no one will expect those types of skills to exist after so long. Understand? Said Naruto, as he looked at his albino warrior. Of course, Naruto-sama, said Kimimaro, knowing where his master was going. As for the rest of you, Inari my brother, Tsunami the mother I always wanted, and you Tazuna are the drunken yet comical grandfather, who stands up for what is right. I hope to make you proud beyond all your expectations, said Naruto, meaning every word he spoke before he disappeared in a burst of flame. At the Great Uzumaki Naruto Bridge. Ready to go, my boy? Said Kyuubi, grinning at finally being able to go home with his newly declared son. Yeah. Hey Kyuubi, can I ask you something? Thought Naruto, going through hand signs to open the portal to demonic realm. Fire away, said Kyuubi, curious to his son's question. What do you think of Hinata? Thought Naruto, wondering what his father would say about the Hyuga heiress. The shy one that smells of lavenders? Her heart is in the right place, she holds no hatred for you, and she doesn't care that you are now my son. Hell, the shy one even declared her love for you in front of that retrieval team, so I say that the Hyuga would make a fine mate for you, said Kyuubi, chuckling at his son's blush at calling Hinata his mate. I never said that Hinata would be my mate, but now that you brought it up, if I did, take her as my mate? How would that even work? Since I'm your son, doesn't that make me longer lasting in terms of a lifespan? Thought Naruto, frowning a little at his father mentally while nearly done the hand signs. So young and so naive you are about life, with the threat of father time looming in the shadows threatening to take it away. There are ways around this dilemma if you do choose the shy Hyuga as your mate. Once you literally mate with her. Every time we male demons decide to mate with a female human, we mark our mates by biting their neck with our teeth. Once our fangs penetrate the skin, they slowly releases demonized energy into her system that will change the physical makeup of her body to that of a demon as well. This also happens in order for the female to handle the power of the child that is growing inside of her, so when the child or children born will not kill the mother during pregnancy, said Kyuubi, smiling at his son's fish-like expression. As educational as that bit of information was, I did not expect you to go into exact detail in terms of mating. Thought Naruto, though he imagined what Hinata would look like as a fox demon, and when he did he felt blood running out of his nose. That's my boy, said Kyuubi, chuckling at his son's eyes, having that glazed over look from seeing the image, and knew this girl was the one for him. It's time. Demonic art. Demon World Portal Jutsu, said Naruto, his hands glowing red before thrusting them forward and creating a circle that would be the portal to take him to Demon World. Naruto-kun, please wait, yelled Hinata, calling out to him, having awakened from her faint spell before searching for him with her Byakugan, finding him on the bridge ready to enter another world and temporarily away from her life. Hinata-chan? Said Naruto, surprised that she found him so fast, and wondered where her team was and if she was being used as a distraction. I just wanted to return the kiss you gave me, said Hinata, and kissed Naruto right on the lips, showing him even further that what she said was true. I like this girl already. What a fox she will make for my son. A graceful queen for my son and future king of demons, said Kyuubi to himself, knowing that if this played out as he hoped it would, then the fox would one day become a grandfather. That's some return, Hinata-chan. Wow, said Naruto, now grinning a large fox-like grin at Hinata, who simply blushed a new shade of red. Don't forget about me, okay, Naruto-kun, said Hinata, knowing she should have more faith in her love than to remind him already of her when he hasn't even left her sight or plane of existence yet. I'll never forget you, Hinata-chan, my lavender foxheim, said Naruto, seeing the girl blush even further, though why he said those things he didn't understand, but suspected it was his demon blood influencing him in that regard. With that, Naruto entered the portal, leaving Hinata and all he knew behind, never to see them again for the next 3 years. Hinata put her hands to her chest and knew that one day he would return to her, and when he did, she would show just how strong she had become. She was so deep in her little world that Hinata failed to notice her team was behind her a few feet, and had seen a brief moment of the kiss she gave to the demon prince. No dango tonight for me, thought Anko, was wondering how she was going to explain this to the Hokage. Demon World Kyuubi's den. Naruto looked around at his surrounding and saw that the sky was reddish-purple with white clouds, the trees looked like tree, though some looked a little unhealthy, and the cave behind him was huge in itself. It was bigger than his father's cell in his mind, and that was big enough to create an eyesore in seeing it too many times in his mind. It was an even bigger pain seeing the Kyuubi behind it, as Naruto wanted his father free from the prison, but couldn't, since such attempts of freedom would kill both father and son. Has anyone been here since you've been in me? Thought Naruto, walking towards the den, only to feel a powerful barrier pushing him back slowly. No. What you felt just now was my demonic barrier I set up when I'm away from my cave, which I fortunately was at the time before I attacked Konoha. Since you are now my son, it won't hurt you, but anyone else, and it would have turned them into liquid goo. Yummy goodness, said Kyuubi, laughing at the thought as Naruto made a yuck face, thinking it was more along the lines of nasty than yummy. So you finally made it here. I was beginning to think someone had killed you before you arrived, said someone behind Naruto, who turned to see draconic-like man with black and spiky hair with a white patch in the middle. Who the hell are you? Said Naruto, noticed, looking the man right in the eyes, which he noticed were red, but with a smooth naturalness to them. He wore black baggy pants, blue ninja top, and black cloak with the kanji for devil on the back with the kanji in a circle of red flames. He had black boots, wrist as well as his ankles, and chakra weights were black with a strange blue trim on one side of the tips. My apologize, Naruto-sama. My name is Shiro Yamato, and I am known here in Demon World as the Shadow Knight, said Shiro, giving a curt bow. How do you know about me? Said Naruto, getting into a defensive stance while Shiro just remained standing. Your father, Kyuubi, sent a demon fox summons to me to have me await for your arrival here in Demon World after all that has happened to you in Konoha. As for my connection with Kyuubi, it was through my father, who was a good friend of your fox father, and a powerful demon dragon named Ryan. According to the message I received from Kyuubi, He wishes that such friendship between two great demons be passed down to us, and as their children show that their blood lives in us, said Shiro, walking towards Naruto, who lowered his guard somewhat and finally seized the various draconian features he possessed, but saw that he was strangely still half human. The boy will help you get stronger here in this world when you aren't learning it from me, or what I have in my den. Also, I can see you are wondering about him being a half-demon, so I'll tell you why. Unlike with most demons, dragons as well as a few other demons can't release demon chakra from their fangs, and thus when mating with a human female simply get a half-demon child like Shiro. My guess is that his mother died bringing him into this world, as all human females do when bringing a child into the world, said Kyuubi, glad to see the son of his old friend wanted to continue the pact of friendship. Thanks for doing this, Shiro-san. I know you could have turned it down, so I can say that you have earned my respect, said Naruto, walking up the half-demon, and shook his hand. I like you already too. You're not arrogant because of your new status as the Kyuubi's father, and I can see you want to work hard for your strength from the feel of your skin. Your hand may heal from wounds, but the scales and inner workings of my nerves tell me that you've had your fair share of working your hands to the bone. Very few people these days work that hard to get what they want since they have it handed to them like they were special, said Shiro, seeing Naruto's slightly surprised face at this little tidbit of info. You have to forgive me since I never suspected you traveled from Demon World and back, said Naruto, looking at the half-dragon half-man carefully in case the boy tried to retaliate physically. To Naruto's surprise, Shiro simply let out a hearty laugh. Believe it or not, I've been to the human world before and I've seen the arrogance those humans have for the power they think they can understand. They simply take power from others rather than earning it with the blood, sweat, and tears others shed to gain it in order to grow stronger. Because of that, they use that stolen power to make everything that they touch become nothingness, and quite frankly I myself couldn't stand it anymore, so I went to Demon World, to further embrace my own heritage. I'm just glad my father fell in love with a human that had a good heart, an open mind about people whatever the race or species they may be, said Shiro, as he was now grinning a dragon smile with his scales around his chin rippling a little as he did. Well, since you're here, you want to get started? Said Naruto, knowing they could begin training right away. Sure. Why not? I've been waiting here a while so I could use a good workout to awaken these stiff dragon muscles of mine, said Shiro, laughing slightly since the muscles in his body ever hardly became stiff. If you don't count the thing between his legs when he sees a hot naked woman. Before you start your training, son, I thought you should know that inside your new home is a sword of mine that has been passed down from one fox demon to another. It is your birthright to wield it as my heir to my throne. Also, I want to take your existing shinobi attire and make slight modifications to it so everyone here and in human world when you return in 3 years knows just whose son you are, said Kyuubi, smiling, as he had the perfect ideas to add to his son's combat attire to further strengthen him. This day just keeps on getting even better, thought Naruto, as he got into a fighting stance while Shiro got into his, and the two went at it. Konoha Hokage Tower 3 days later. So the mission was a failure yet again, said Tsunade, getting a confirmed nod from Anko and Guy while their two genin left the room. Yeah. Naruto was really pissed that you wanted him to come back to Konoha knowing what awaited him here. Even with whatever you had planned, he basically figured it out and wanted nothing to do with any of us. Or at least most of us anyway, said Anko, knowing that there was one person that Naruto would return for if only to take her with him. It was so unyouthful. Naruto was standing over 2 graves and when we confronted him he mocked us so harshly, said Guy, crying, anime tears making the 2 women's sweat drop, and they suspected that if Rock Lee were in the room, the 2 weirdos would probably be involved in a long hugging scene right about now. How they hated that. He was obviously paying his respects to the 2 shinobi there. I've read that report done by Kakashi concerning those 2 in question and I think Naruto could relate to the 2 easily. What else happened? Said Tsunade, looking at the 2, sensing something else had happened in Wave Country. Other than the fact that the people there looked at us like they wanted to gut the team up like fish? Not much, said Anko, hoping the Hokage wouldn't suspect anything and let them go. Well, if that's everything then you are, said Tsunade, but was interrupted by several of the council members came in the room not looking pleased. We have to have a little talk with you, Hokage-sama, said Danzo, not looking pleased, as he held a sheet of paper in his hands with a scowl on his face, meaning he didn't like what he was reading. I'm in the middle of a mission report with several of my shinobi Danzo and council, so you will just have to wait your turn like everyone else does, said Tsunade, smirking at them since they clearly didn't like being treated like everyone else, as they believed that they were above everyone else, including her. I guess we have to stay here for a few more minutes, right? Said Anko, wishing she was torturing someone right now. Yes. I know why the council is in an uproar. They tried to use their power to take claim over the Namikaze household to get access to the estate and all that it holds within it, due to it being under a lockdown jutsu. Only someone who is a blood relative or descendant of the Namikaze line, to be more precise, can unlock it and claim the spoils the Yondaime had placed in there. So in a move that surprised even me, I put the home, the deed, and all that is the Namikaze line under Naruto's name. This way the council couldn't try to take it under the law that all heirless clan homes become state property, and then placed under the care of the government officials, said Tsunade, knowing that Danzo wanted what was inside the home so he could gain more power to throw her out of power. Yash! Your flames of youth shine brightly, Hokage-sama, and when Naruto returns he'll not only gain a passionate girlfriend in Hinata, but his inheritance too, said Guy, making Anko slap her head at the Jonin's words. Damn it, Guy, thought Anko, knowing that now she had to tell Tsunade or risk a pay cut this month. What? Did you just say gain a passionate girlfriend in Hinata? Spill, said Tsunade before scowling at the two shinobi in front of her. Okay, Hokage-sama, this is the unedited version, but it's also the unofficial version, so what we told you originally has to stay as it was stated, said Anko, knowing that the less people who knew about this the better. What happened? Said Tsunade, her patience getting thinner and her body aging a little bit faster than she would have hoped. In a nutshell? Hinata was the cause of the mission failing, said Anko, as she and Guy told Tsunade all about the whole event that happened at the two graves. The kiss Naruto gave Hinata on her forehead, her fainting, their brief reunion on the bridge, and finally the kiss Hinata gave Naruto at the last moment before leaving the human world for an unknown amount of time. So the little moron finally saw it, huh? Well, I guess I'm not surprised, since the treatment from the village didn't help much, so it's not all his fault. Now get out of here before the council comes barging in again. But while you're out, I need you two to find Jiraiya so he and I can talk more about this, said Tsunade, letting out a tired sigh before looking at the pictures of the previous Hokages on the wall behind her, wondering what they thought of Konoha right now. Konoha Hospital. Niji awoke to see his cousin Hinata there, to see him now awaken, and was happy to see him now fully conscious after all that happened to him during the failed retrieval mission for Uchiha Sasuke. Originally he didn't know the mission was a failure since he had been unconscious the whole time, and no one told him yet about the results of it all. However, deep in Niji's heart, he felt something had happened, and knew that whatever it may be was for the worst. Hinata-sama, I'm glad you came to visit me, said Niji, smiling at his cousin and wishing he had not been such an ass to her early on in life. You're welcome, Niji and I-san. I hope you recover fast, as I want your help in my own style of gentle fist, said Hinata without stuttering, making Niji's eyebrow go up at her sudden act of confidence and determination. Hinata-sama, forgive me for asking, but did you by some chance have some kind of interaction with Uzumaki Naruto? Said Niji, hoping that if such a thing was the case it better not have been anything perverted. Judging by the signs of Hinata blushing and trying to force it down meant the two's little interaction wasn't perverted. But the Hyuga prodigy didn't want to be an uncle just yet. Correct, Niji and I-san. But it happened at a really bad time, said Hinata, who kept down her blush down since it was so important that she tell Niji what happened to Naruto. A loud what? Soon echoed throughout Konoha, nearly scaring some people right out of their clothes. Naruto dodged a punch that came from Shiro before countering with a kick to the half-demon dragon's ribs, followed up by a spin kick to the back of his head. This was how they spent the final day training, as this was their final sparring session during the last 3 years when the Fox Prince wasn't training under Kyuubi's direction. During the time they had spent together, Shiro had told Naruto a lot about his past experiences when living in both Demon World and the human world. How Shiro trained under a strong fire demon named Hai and a fox demon prince of thieves named Kurama, who was a master plant manipulator like the Shodaime of Konoha was in his day. In fact, according to Shiro, the Shodaime could very well have been of Kurama's human kin, since on several occasions the demon blood mutated in their human descendants. It was a form of evolution in humans who were descended from demons, so their powers would be able to surface, so the demonic power locked away wouldn't eat at them from the inside. That was how blood diseases came up so much in the beginning when clans were first being founded, since not every child born in a clan could activate their demon blood, but rather it would leak out slower than cells could handle, causing a backing up of power within the cells. It caused the demonic cells that produced the bloodline traits to become poisoned, thus resulting in many deaths, resulting in bad blood, as it was simply called. Now, though it rarely happened since humans had evolved to a point where such a thing rarely happened anymore among clans, a person with a bloodline that didn't activate it properly never fell victim to the disease due to the body's physical tolerance to it. It surprised Naruto that Shiro, when in the human world, had once developed a very solid relationship with the now dead member of the Sound Four known as Taiyuya. It turns out that prior to Taiyuya's way of life as a member of the Sound Four wasn't all that bad, as Shiro made sure she was happy and helped train her to be strong. However, when Orochimaru came around, everything had changed, and Shiro had told her that she had one choice that would decide her future in life and their very relationship: to either drop the Sannin to pursue something more beyond their friendship, or stay with the deceitful missing ninja only to die under false pretenses. When Orochimaru had no longer considered in his eyes that she was useful, her response was less than heartwarming. Apparently the curse seal had also influenced the language center of Taiyuya's brain, as her response had quite a choice set of curse words added in for good measure. The curse seal had already bound her to Orochimaru's control, thus ending whatever relationship the two could have had together. When Shiro learned that Taiyuya was killed through his summons, he always sent periodically to check up on her to see if she had left the Sannin or was even alive. It had broken his heart knowing that what he told her had become a self-fulfilling prophecy. Naruto had told Shiro he was sorry for his loss, even though Shiro told him that he had no real reason to be sorry since Taiyuya had made her own choice in life. Despite the tainted influence from the Sannin, the dragon half-demon knew that Taiyuya had made the choice to go with him willingly. All Shiro could do now was ask Naruto was that when he did return to the human world that the fox demon kill Orochimaru due to his curse seal poisoning her mind. Naruto gladly agreed. I still can't believe it's been 3 years since you came here to Demon World, said Shiro, as they now sat down on a nearby hill looking up at the sky. Naruto Shikamaru's love for cloud gazing had apparently rubbed off on Naruto, and now it had now rubbed onto Shiro as well. I find that time passes much faster when you are having fun with a friend regardless if it's in demon world or human world, said Naruto, knowing just how cheesy it sounded despite it being the truth. Indeed. To be honest, I would go with you, Naruto, if I could, but when my father passed away I was bound to fulfill my duties as his rightful heir to the dragon throne. The only reason it doesn't apply to you is because your father is still technically alive, albeit he's alive inside of you, but I think it's beside the point, said Shiro, getting up, followed by Naruto, who looked at his friend with concern. There is more you want to tell me, but you're hesitant to do so. Why? Said Naruto, as he was slightly worried at what his friend would say. Naruto, I want you to realize the ramifications one has in being a long-lasting demon lord, as you are technically immortal with the exception of dying at the hands of another. When you decide to settle down with the special person, you must treasure her as if she held your very soul, your very purpose for existence inside of her, and protect her with everything you have. Unlike me, when you mate with a woman you love, you will make her a demon like you and will fall under the same rules as you do in terms of immortality. However, the humans in Konoha and anywhere else you may have connections with are not so fortunate to be given this ability to live as long as a god does. One day they, along with the people around them, will ultimately die, and as they die one by one you will feel pain in your heart because of it, said Shiro, wanting Naruto to be aware of this important fact. Father has reminded me on several occasions of this fact, and I have made peace with the thought of outliving everyone I ever knew when I was human. However, as long as I have the memories of them in my heart when they pass on, I know they will never truly be lost to me, said Naruto, having spoken to his father about this several times during the past 3 years while his body slept, and had accepted this knowledge painfully before shoving it back into the dark corner of his mind. Shiro nodded before they both headed back. Human world Konoha. Tsunade was looking through various reports Shizen handed her, and was not pleased with what she saw in the slightest from the intel Jiraiya's spy network came up with. It had nearly been 3 years since the failed retrieval mission, and Orochimaru had been busy molding Sasuke into his new vessel to use in knowing all the jutsus in the world. As it stood, Tsunade believed it was foolish of the council to wanting to pamper the Uchiha as they did when he was loyal to the Leaf Village, and now it had come to bite them, all in the ass. Of course those old fools would never admit to being wrong and only stated that had the demon brat not made Sasuke feel inferior the boy wouldn't have left under false beliefs, which meant they blamed Naruto for the Uchiha's faults. As if Naruto had anything to do remotely with the Uchiha's defection, and if it did it was because the spoiled boy wanted Naruto dead to gain the forbidden form of the Sharingan that Itachi had before killing off the rest of his clan. Like her grandfather and founder of Konoha, the Shodaime Hokage, Tsunade never did like the Uchihos when growing up, as they walked around all snobbish, as if they were the greatest clan in the world and all those compared to their Sharingan were weak, or was inferior to them. If there was a bloodline out in the world that was equal or had surpassed the Sharingan, Tsunade had no doubt that the Uchiha clan would have done one of two horrible things: marry into it or destroy it so no one could be their betters. Silently, the fifth Hokage felt Itachi had done Konoha a service that was long overdue since she learned that many of the Uchiha had been against Naruto being alive at all. She also had a suspicion it was not simply because of the kyuubi sealed inside of him either, but with nearly all the clan dead, Itachi with Akatsuki, and Sasuke with Orochimaru, she would never know. She doubted the council knew of such a secret reason behind the Uchiha's hate for her little brother, and if they did they had no intention of telling her. They were most likely doing it just to spite her since she didn't believe in their policies for their own needs and their hate for the boy. She had sent Jiraiya to look for any information about Naruto in the hopes the kid should pop up during that time when the Sannin was trying to find out more about Akatsuki and a strange new yet small group that had made an appearance during the last 3 years. It was uncertain who they were or what they looked like, but they were considered nearly as infamous as the demon hunting organization if not its equal. All that was known was they moved through the shadows and the mist receiving orders from someone, who was rumored to be their leader, but that person was an unknown at the time, and would have to be for a little while longer. The 3 individuals all wore plain black cloaks with no symbols or designs on them to signify themselves as an organization, but clearly acted as if they were, hence the rumor of a shadowy 4th member and leader. The first one to be identified of the group, with the witness later dying from blood loss from his encounter, wielded a large sword with a metal mask covering the lower half of his face from the nose on down. The hood having covered the remaining half made the individual an unknown, and was said to appear like a ghost before killing his targets. The second one wore a hunter mask with a soft voice that was said, if the rumors were to be believed, to rival an angel's own, before you fell in a bloody heap of flesh. This figure was just as lethal if not more than the first, as the individual would kill you before you even knew you were dead, and at the hands of the 2 kodachis he or possibly she used. The third member was rumored to be the strongest of the 3, yet younger than the large Zanbato-wielding ninja, but older than the one, who was a double kodachi user. This fearsome warrior was the silent of the 3, had no seeable weapon to speak of, but was still considered deadly nonetheless, and never spoke a word around anyone around him. If he or she did it was too muffled to determine the gender, but it was rumored that the warrior was a man since the figure had been referred to as a he. This unknown shadow of a warrior had a air of eyes filled with so much hate, as it was rumored that by looking into them you could see your own death, and all the demons of hell were waiting to greet you on the other side to rip your soul apart. They all went by apparent nicknames they gave each other to identify one another, and so they never had to go by their real ones during actual combat, as if the revealing of such knowledge was nothing but a death sentence. One was known as the Demon Ghost, the second soft-talking individual was known as the Black Angel, and the third quiet one was known as the Sins of Mankind. How did Tsunade know this? Tsunade knew this because Jiraiya's spy network had learned that both the sides Akatsuki and Orochimaru had tried to recruit them to their separate causes. The messengers that were sent by both groups were sent back the same day, rumored to be nothing but that of blood and remains of skin in a box meant to hold shoes. Tsunade also knew this aside from Jiraiya's spy network because one of Orochimaru's messengers was a root member under the command of Danzo. Of course, Danzo had deeply denied any connection to the matter, claiming the group had been disbanded for years now, and that the deceased shinobi joined the Sannin to be of someone's service. The council bought it, seeing no evidence to contradict the crippled man's words, and with them supporting him as it was. Tsunade doubted that unless the man was alive, confessing his guts out in front of them, and pointed the finger at Danzo, it would make little difference. However, what was more pressing was Danzo, and the council wanted Tsunade to send a team to do what Orochimaru or Akatsuki could not do by recruiting this group to the Leaf Village. They believed that such power would keep the enemies of Konoha at bay, but it would also sway Sasuke in coming back to Konoha for the power he was seeking to kill Itachi. The first reason the council gave, Tsunade could understand, since Iwa and Kumo had become quite restless as of late. But the second reason made the Hokage's blood boil at them wanting to bring the Uchiha back simply for his damn bloodline. Those idiots are going to be the end of this village if something isn't done soon, thought Tsunade, letting out a sigh of frustration at this situation, and wished for some sort of aid, whether it was intentional or not, to help her in this time of need. At a simple ramen stand, a boy with short dark hair with an angelic face sneezed a little, knowing that someone was talking about him and possibly two others. "Are you all right, sir?" said I. "Am hoping this handsome young man wasn't catching a cold." "Oh yes, it must be someone talking about me," said Haku, smiling at her, making the girl blush slightly from the effect it had on her before she unconsciously took the money he gave to pay for his meal as he left. "Flirting with women again?" said Zabuza, as Haku made his way into the dark alley before donning his cloak and mask once more. "Would you have me flirting with other men, Zabuza-san?" "Perhaps with you?" said Haku, knowing that it was always fun to poke at the man when it came to their past relationship. "Shut up. I'm as straight as Kimimaro is albino. Now quit messing with me or I'll ram my sword down your throat," said Zabuza before the two left to meet with the said albino, who was currently looking at the Hokage archives for all the dirt on the council he could give to Naruto later for leverage should he need it. With Kimimaro, the albino shinobi had taken a countless number of documents and stored them all away in storage scrolls, with each document dating the council's actions since the late third Hokage had been reinstated. The secret meetings that took place involving Naruto's fate the day after the sealing, decisions involving him being denied his inheritance that lead him to being in the orphanage for a few years before being kicked out, secret meetings the main council had with the citizen council to make sure the boy pay 3 to 4 times the amount for things that were outdated. It was all here, and the main council was in on every aspect of Naruto's life, all with the plan to either have the boy killed, exiled, or in the case concerning Danzo, to be seen as a potential weapon for the village should any of the kyuubi's chakra come out to make the boy hostile to his attackers on several of his birthdays. "The fools dare try to destroy my master. I will give this to Naruto-sama when he returns and let him decide what to do with these power-hungry morons that dare to challenge a future king of all demons," thought Kimimaro before spotting the journal of the third Hokage piled on top of several papers that were clearly supposed to make the tiny book hidden, should anyone ever enter the room. "Find anything useful?" said Zabuza as he and Haku came out of the ice mirror that the boy had formed to get to the room. "Yes, and possibly more. I wish Naruto-sama to see what I have found before I can truly appreciate my work in giving him the information he seeks. I understand from the last Fox summons that came to us 2 weeks ago that he is coming back soon and wishes to know of our progress with Akatsuki," said Kimimaro, knowing that the organization had been a bane on his master's existence that needed to be wiped out before going after Orochimaru and the Uchiha puppet. "If you've got everything, let's get the hell out of here before we're all spotted and they put a bounty on our heads or something. We could probably take on this whole nest of arrogant weaklings no problem. But Naruto doesn't want that to happen just yet," said Zabuza, sensing people coming down the corridor outside the room. "In a moment, Zabuza-san. I want them to know that someone was here and that someone knows their dirty little secrets. I think Naruto-sama would agree, since it will put the fear of Kami in them if this information ever got out, would make the village lose face with its allies," said Kimimaro, smiling cruelly behind his hood before tripping the alarm meant for an intruder in the Hokage tower. "The only thing they need to and should fear worse than Kami is Naruto when he makes his return," said Zabuza before all three had entered the mirror and left without a trace of them being in the room. "Hokage's office. What do you mean someone stole from the restricted area of our archives?" said a now angry Tsunade before she smashed one of the two ANBUs through a wall with her fist. "When we arrived to investigate, Hokage-sama, we found that the alarm was deliberately tripped as if to rub in our faces that they stole from under our noses," said the remaining ANBU shinobi, still standing to give the report. "Find out what they stole, who it was, and do it fast," said Tsunade, glaring at the ANBU, who bowed before leaving in a puff of smoke. "Are you thinking what I'm thinking?" said Jiraiya, opening the window, having heard the entire conversation between her and the one A and B with the one being sent through the wall, being sent to the hospital for treatment. Where the hell have you been? Said Tsunade, deciding to take her anger out on Jiraiya since he had been unable to find any information concerning Naruto, or any regarding the mysterious 3 shinobi that had been causing messes throughout the elemental countries. What do you think? I've been trying to do my job and gathering the information that you keep demanding I try to get for you when I keep telling you it's impossible, said Jiraiya, looking slightly annoyed at Tsunade kept wanting to bring Naruto back, and even though they knew that he was in Demon World, she still persisted that she find out more about him during his absence in Konoha. It's nearly been 3 years since he left, damn it. Surely you and that blasted spy network of yours discovered something about Naruto, or those strange 3 ninja running around? Said Tsunade, irritated that her most valuable and trusted asset in Konoha wasn't having much luck these days as she was. I have been looking for any sign of Naruto possibly popping up, but you know as well as I do that when it comes to training, Naruto will do whatever it takes to get stronger, even if it means cutting himself off from all human contact. I know you want him back in your arms, never to let free again, Tsunade, but even if he came back, I doubt he would want to be held in your embrace. I on the hand, said Jiraiya, only to be punched out the window by the woman, who knew what Jiraiya was referring to. Damn pervert, said Tsunade before she returned to her paperwork, much to her dismay at the size of it all. Demon World. So I guess this is goodbye for now, said Shiro, holding out his hand, which Naruto took without hesitation, knowing that it would many years before the Fox Prince returned to the land of demons. For now, as you said, but make no mistake, I will return, and when I do we will pick up where we left off in our last spar, said Naruto in his newly modified fighting attire, now nearly 5 feet 8 inches to near a solid 6 feet, with his steel-toed boots, a black cape, black leather hat, and his sword with a crimson-black striped hilt, Nodachi-style sword strapped to his back with the top of the hilt turning slightly circular with a fox skull in the center of the circle. Naruto's hair had also grown long and spiky, yet he managed to bend it to his will while being compacted in the hat without giving him hat hair when he took the thing off. His face had become more royal with a sharp, strong chin, yet with a fox-like suave to it that would make women drool over him, and held a mischievous intent to all who fell prey to his well-calculated plans of attack. I look forward to it. Take care, my friend, and know you will always have an ally among the dragon demons here or in human world as long as I draw breath, said Shiro, who knew that no form of dragon demon in either world would dare oppose his rule or who he considered an ally despite only being a half-demon. Naruto nodded and opened the portal to the human world before entering it to head back to right the many wrongs of the world, starting with Akatsuki. But before he could do that, he needed to send a message to a certain Snake Sannin and one Uchiha Sasuke. Sound Village 2 days later. Danzo just sent us a message, Orochimaru-sama. He wishes to form a more solid alliance with us in order to fully take over Konoha rather than destroy it. After such an event, he wishes to use his newfound power and structure to aid us in taking over the other hidden villages in the other elemental countries, said Kabuto, handing his master the message for the Sannin himself to read. The fool is still consumed in the idea that constant wars with other will make the Leaf Village stronger. While I agree that only the strongest survive in war, it's the unnecessary ones that I try to avoid. All the same, this is something I cannot turn away from, as such an alliance will most likely be a benefit in the end. Send a message back telling Danzo that he has his alliance in exchange that the jutsus they take become mine to have as a form of payment, said Orochimaru, knowing that while Danzo did most of the work during a war, his men could simply take what they want and on occasion send the weaklings of sound to assist with the survivors being used for future experiments. Of course, Orochimaru-sama, said Kabuto, bowing before he left to set out on the task given to him by his master. Such an obedient servant, don't you think so, Sasuke? Said Orochimaru, looking over at his prized vessel to be and grinned viciously at the Uchiha. Whatever. It's not like his existence matters to me. All that I want and matters to me is the power to kill my brother, said Sasuke, not even remotely interested in the Sannin or in his minions, but rather in the power they wielded that he wanted to make his own. And you shall once the Uzumaki boy returns from wherever he is hiding, and then you can kill him to get what you want to kill Itachi, said Orochimaru, knowing that his vessel and the kyuubi boy had unfinished business. Like that loser could ever be a match for me anymore, said Sasuke, glaring at the Snake Sannin, though he was a little curious as to how strong the blonde-haired kid had gotten since their fight at the Valley of the End. The Uchiha had read the various reports from the spies in Konoha about what apparently happened to Naruto, and frankly Sasuke didn't believe it one bit. How could some loser gain favor from a demon lord? As an Uchiha, such acknowledgement should have gone to him, and not some ramen-eating nutcase, who couldn't even graduate the first or second time at the academy. Never underestimate your opponent, Sasuke. It is what nearly the reason you nearly lost to Naruto, if I remember correctly, said Orochimaru, knowing that Sasuke hated to be reminded of that. The loser got lucky, said Sasuke, believing that was the only reason Naruto was able to stand up to him as long as he did. After all, what power could surpass an Uchiha? Soon there was an explosion within Sound Village, making Sasuke and Orochimaru leave the throne room to investigate the disturbance. Orochimaru-sama, were under attack. A warrior dressed in black and wielding a massive sword is killing Sound Shinobi left and right. We tried to engage him as a group, but he cut us down like we were insects, said a Sound Shinobi, approaching the Sannin with only one arm and several slashes across his upper body as well as some lower along the leg area. What? said Orochimaru, looking at the source of the carnage not far from them as the enemy had beheaded 2 of his minions in one stroke of his blade. Allow me to deal with this intruder, Orochimaru-sama, said Kabuto, knowing that while sound shinobi under the Sannin were not weak, they were in comparison to Kabuto. Fine. Bring me his body to me intact for future study, said Orochimaru, watching from the sidelines with the Uchiha, who was watching the movements of the fighter with his Sharingan, but found he was incapable of copying them. How can I not copy it? I have the Sharingan, so my eyes should make all power that is another's mine, thought Sasuke, fuming at this development, wishing that he had the next stage of the Sharingan so he would be able to do anything he wished. No sooner had Kabuto started entering the fray did a heavy thick mist surround the 2 warriors, making the Sound Jounin tense at this, wondering if this warrior was an agent of mist. You seem nervous all of a sudden, Kabuto. Why? Surely your skills given to you by the Sannin you serve are enough for you to handle a weakling like me? Said the figure, with only the shadow of the figure appearing in Kabuto's sight. Your mocking could use some work, whoever you are. I am Orochimaru-sama's second in command, and I am not intimidated in the slightest by your skills or your tricks, said Kabuto, though he was slightly intimidated by the power he was now sensing from the man, wondering just how far this well of power went. Your usefulness will be at an end soon, and when that happens, Uchiha Sasuke will take your place before becoming Orochimaru himself. How does that make you feel, knowing that you are about to die and the arrogant prick the Sannin wants as his new body will soon take your place as Orochimaru's second? Said the figure, fading deeper into the mist, letting out a deep and seemingly inhuman chuckle as he did. You think I am some amateur that you can simply fool into believing your lies? I have no desire to die here, and I will not be replaced as you claim. I also know from how Mist Shinobi acts that they strike from behind when performing the silent kill technique they mastered. Gotcha, said Kabuto, sensing someone was behind him and using his chakra scalpels to strike from behind only to find nothing but mist before him without even a hint of his foe. You are an amateur if you believe me to be a Mist Shinobi, said the figure from behind Kabuto, slicing off the man's right arm, making the medic ninja scream in pain at the loss of the appendage. Who are you? Said Kabuto before letting out another scream as the ground was cut out from under him, or rather his leg had been cut off above the knee from under him to be more precise. Don't you remember, Kabuto? You met me when you tried to recruit Tsunade to healing the snake Sannin's arms after old man Hokage got through with him, and in the process you nearly killed me by using your chakra scalpels on my heart, said the figure, moving from the depths of the mist, revealing one kyuubi Naruto towering over the badly injured Kabuto. You? But how? How could you get this strong in such a short time? Said Kabuto while trying to move away from Naruto with his one good leg, only to find that 2 had been removed below the knee faster than the man could see. I don't share my secrets with the dead, said Naruto, thrusting his sword into Kabuto's chest before ripping out the pierced heart, thus ending the Sound Jounin's life. Not even Kabuto could regenerate a heart he didn't have. By that time the mist had cleared enough for Orochimaru and Sasuke to see Kabuto's life end right before their eyes, shocking the 2 of them to no end. They had of course heard the screams, but thought nothing of them considering Kabuto's healing abilities with his chakra. Now they saw the Jounin on the ground with 3 out of 4 limbs cut off and a hole in his chest cavity where the heart once resided only now, and the long sword his killer now wielded. How could he do that to Kabuto? The intruder should have fallen easily to the skills that Kabuto possesses, thought Orochimaru, seeing the figure turn to look at him and Sasuke before walking away casually as if they were insignificant. Damn it! If that mist hadn't appeared when it did, I might have been able to copy some powerful moves to kill Itachi. How did that mist even come into existence when Kabuto fought him? Thought Sasuke, scowling and seething with rage at this warrior, who had all this power, and had basically manhandled Kabuto like he was a weak genin. Do you want me go eliminate him for you, Orochimaru? Said Sasuke casually, as if he were stronger than Kabuto. No. We need to repair the damage that was done to Sound. Besides, from the way that he easily defeated Kabuto, he would have killed you, Sharingan or not, said Orochimaru, not liking the eyes of the attacker. Are you saying that I'm weak, Orochimaru? Said Sasuke, glaring at the Sannin, who was walking away from him. After all the training I put you through, you are much stronger without a doubt, but you are nowhere near Kabuto's league, or mine for that matter. If that warrior could do that to someone of Kabuto's level, imagine what will happen to you if you face him. I doubt he will give you a chance to use your Sharingan or your Curse Seal levels 1 and 2, Sasuke, said Orochimaru before heading back inside to let his shinobi take care of the repair work, while he planned to find out just who the hell that was. If I wasn't so sure of Orochimaru's power, I would say the man was actually afraid of this guy, thought Sasuke before walking off to do more training, so should he encounter the individual that killed Kabuto, he would have the exclusive honor of killing him. Elsewhere, did you enjoy killing Kabuto like that? Said Zabuza, having created the mist to keep the Uchiha out, but was able to see what it was happening between Naruto and the Sound Jounin. After Naruto had originally arrived at the rendezvous point, the trio of shinobi that were his followers gave him the dirty secrets of the council and the Sandame's journal. They were all pleased to be in the presence of their master, as it had been 3 years since the boy, now young man, had been in the human world. In fact, Naruto had only communicated with them via fox demon summons that would relay messages back and forth from the 2 worlds. Yes, it was most enjoyable. However, he is but a pebble on the pathway to righting the wrongs of this world. The time for mercy and talking to bring peace are over. The time has come for those wronged to feel justice, and those who have done evil to others to be punished painfully, said Naruto, his red eyes glowing as he spoke, showing an unearthly-like fire in them that was practically surreal. If you do not mind me asking, Naruto-sama, but why did you not kill Orochimaru and Uchiha Sasuke while you were in the village? Your power far exceeded their own, so why not end their lives sooner than later, said Haku. As he had been curious about that since the instant that Naruto came out of the portal from Demon World, they knew he was at a level far beyond anyone else. Because Haku, it would have been too early in the game to kill the two of them, since I will need them later on when Akatsuki is no more. Besides, in the 2 years to come we need to make our presence made known to all the people of the elemental countries. If we kill them now it would simply get their attention, but not the need to seek us out for possible employment. Before the next year is over I will make our group so infamous that even the daimyos themselves will wish to seek personal audiences with us, and that, my friends, is what I want to happen, said Naruto before leaping into the trees with his 3 followers right behind him. There was work to be done. Akatsuki Base 3 months later. The room was completely silent and empty in the darkness, as that was how all 9 of the members of Akatsuki preferred it when meeting in this manner. It became a sense of calm when they met to discuss the nature of the plans they created and the progress on them that would always go as planned. However, right now things were not progressing as they had planned. The projectors in the room on the ground were a total of 9, with 1 being for each of the members of Akatsuki that were used to have their meetings when they were scattered throughout the elemental countries. At the moment the projectors started to activate, only 7 of the 9 showed shadowy figures of the members, meaning something happened to them. Sasori and Deidara are dead. This has become an unexpected development in our plans for the organization, since they are now unable to retrieve the demon within Sabaku no Gara. Even more is that we do not know the identity of the attackers, who are the ones responsible for slaying them, said Pain, clearly displeased with how things were going given the latest the organization's designs for the world. Could it be that new group we heard about 3 years ago? They sent our messenger back pretty nasty from what I understand, said Kisame, thinking of the only people capable of being a threat to them. It is a possibility, but it is highly unlikely since they do not have a reason to attack us to begin with, said Conan, as she looked at the others in the room through her projection. One does not need a reason simply to strike another, Conan-san, but merely a means to an end, I'm sure, said Itachi, looking at the projection of Haiden and Kakuzu, frowning slightly as he did, noticing they seemed to be looking back every once in a while as if they suspected someone was behind them. Do we have a problem, Haiden? Kakuzu? Said Pain, now glaring at the 2 projections as Itachi did, which drew the attention of the other members in the group. No, Pain-sama, it's just, said Kakuzu before his form in the projection vanished, as did Haiden in a somewhat gory-like fashion, if the way their forms in the projection splattered was any indication. What the hell? Said Kisame, being the only one to say it outwardly since everyone else was thinking it. I'm afraid Haiden and Kakuzu are currently indisposed of at the moment, O distinguished members of Akatsuki. Would you like to leave a message for them with me? Said a now mysterious figure in a calm, almost serene-like voice, wearing a black hat, clothing, a dark cloth-like mask covering the lower part of his face, and a very long sword strapped to his back. Identify yourself, said Pain, frowning at this unknown and unforeseen foe. There is no need for that, leader of Akatsuki, for you will know my identity soon enough when my associates, and I come for each and every one of you. However, I am not so rude or as heartless as you think I am, for I will tell you one thing about myself you may find to be quite interesting, said the figure, who now was joined by his followers, with each one filling an empty projector that once belonged to the deceased members of Akatsuki. And what may that be? Said Itachi, narrowing his eyes at the leader of the apparent 4 individuals that dared to oppose the greater majority. Like you, Itachi-san, I am from Konoha, and I too am marked to be killed by them should I ever be caught. However, unlike you, Uchiha, I am not so weak that I have to hide like a coward behind an organization like this one simply to keep the hunter ninjas that our village would send out at bay. The same can be said for you as well, Kisame, as you know fully well that if it weren't for Miss Village's still weakened condition due to the chaos of the bloodline civil war, you yourself would become hunted down like a stray dog. Each and every one of your late or currently at the moment indisposed of members are now all boxed up, sealed up, and about to be sent straight to the elemental country of their birth. The respected daimyos of each country will receive a message with each box telling all of them just who did this to your pathetic little group. I want you all to know that I killed Orochimaru's right-hand Kabuto, and I am going to be responsible for your organization's downfall. I welcome all of you remaining here today to your worst nightmare, said the figure whose eyes now glowed an eerie red before he and the other 2 figures with him disappeared from their own projectors. How could he or his group have done that so fast? Said Kisame, looking at the others in the room only to see them all deep in thought about the situation. They have been busy apparently. They must have gotten information out of Sasori and Deidara before they died, knowing that those 2 would lead them to us. This has become most unsettling and must be dealt with swiftly with ruthless aggression, said Pain, seeing that this force that opposed them was causing a great setback for him and Akatsuki. Who should go hunt for them? If they could easily get rid of so many of our members of Akatsuki that quickly, then it may require more than just a 2-man team to go after them all, said Conan, looking at Pain's projected form, who turned slightly towards her. That probably would be the best course of action with this group, considering our plans have been set back at such a pace that this can't be ignored. Very well, and another recent recruit not here at the moment will pursue this group while Itachi and Kisame go track down the kyuubi vessel as planned, said Pain before the images faded out one by one until only Pain himself remained. This is bad for our group, said Pain in the darkness apparently to himself. You forget that it's quality not quantity that matters when it comes to fighting Pain-san, and you have more than enough of both to handle them, said a figure in the darkness. But from any of the projectors. Forgive me, Madara-sama. I am sure with your help under your disguised form that we will be able to destroy these rodents once and for all, said Pain to the true leader of the Akatsuki. You can repent for your moment of weakness later by killing those that dared to defy us and more importantly the Uchiha way of life and submitting all to our power, said Madara, his Sharingan eye glowing dimly in the darkness. Yes, Madara-sama. I will meet you under your alias as Tobi at the rendezvous point with Konan, said Pain before his projected form soon vanished, leaving only the founder of the Uchiha clan to bask in all its glory. Konoha Hokage's office. Is this information true? Said Tsunade looking at Jiraiya, who nodded with a frown of concern on his face. He was concerned because of the quickened pace in which the enemies of the Leaf as well as the various shinobi villages were dying. First, Kabuto's heart had been mysteriously dropped off at the Hokage's desk in a little wooden box with a note saying, "One less person for you to deal with, Tsunade. Signed, the 5 Shinigami Shadows." Second, word had reached Konoha of a small group now targeting the 9 members of Akatsuki and slowly killing them off one pair at a time. After each kill they were dropped off in front of their respected villages, or at least parts of their bodies anyway. The rest of the remains went straight to the country's own daimyos, who were all glad to see these unwelcome thorns now fully removed from their sides. Third, the now well-respected Kazekage of Suna that was Sabaku no Gara was to have been rumored to apparently see the group responsible for Akatsuki's sudden and untimely weakening. It was further rumored that the vessel of Shikaku had even offered them his personal protection as well as the sanctuary of Suna if they ever needed it. Whoever the members of the group were, they must have been powerful and influential to earn the Kazekage's respect after one meeting. As true as your overly large breasts are real, said Jiraiya before he was sent into a wall via Tsunade's fist to his face. Perverted asshole, said Tsunade, though she probably should have seen that remark coming like all the others he used on her. Yeah, I love you too, said Jiraiya, getting off the hardwood floor he slumped down to after leaving his own imprint on the wall. Be serious with me this one time, Jiraiya. Just how powerful and influential has this new group become? Said Tsunade looking at her old teammate with a serious expression. It's hard to say really. I know they met with the Kazekage and the Wind Daimyo, but for some reason they won't go to IWA or Kumo unless they already did. It would explain the reason why Kumo is so quiet right now, but it's hard to say for certain. It's been rumored that Kumo lost the shinobi shortly after rumors of their visit came, but who was apparently taken is short-lived by the higher-ups there, said Jiraiya, knowing that for the rakeage of Kumo to keep such information from getting out meant that this missing ninja and new member to this shadowy group must have been someone they didn't want free from their grasp. Not willingly anyway. What about Mist? Said Tsunade, knowing that people like them would and could thrive on the violence that village created. Not a chance. Mist Village is still trying to recover from its own fallings and right now is considered a continent of bloodshed, so I doubt they will go there anytime soon to that place. I did hear several rumors that the Fire Daimyo wants to speak with them soon in regards to staying Orochimaru's hand with any possible future invasion with the death of Kabuto, said Jiraiya, knowing that out of all of the daimyos in the elemental countries that Fire's was the most influential of them all. The fact was that if the rumors were true that their feudal lord wanted to see these 4, then they must have the power to rival all 3 Sannin themselves. It was actually a scary thought considering that they held allegiances to no one but each other, and even then no one knew how far that rabbit hole went. Can you get one of your more reliable spies present during this meeting if it ever takes place? Said Tsunade, knowing that Jiraiya's spies could always get in the most hard-to-reach places for necessary information. I don't know. From what I learned, the meeting with the Wind Daimyo was just 6 people in the throne room with no bodyguards present. Apparently, the meeting was so secret that not even the guards outside the room knew what was happening and were tempted to find out just in case their feudal lord had been secretly assassinated, said Jiraiya, as that had never happened before when it came to meetings with people of such high stature. The Fire Daimyo is the most powerful and influential of all the feudal lords, so I doubt he will have the meeting with them alone considering their power. He won't be as naive as the Wind Daimyo in regards to this, I can assure you, said Tsunade, knowing that when you are in that kind of position with power you tend to have the means to protect yourself even against the slyest of shinobi. This group seemed to fit the bill perfectly. Well, all I know is these guys have made Akatsuki now direct their efforts on them, and Orochimaru is keeping Sasuke in sound for further training, said Jiraiya, sighing at the last part, wishing he had more time in training Naruto than he gave the boy. Hell, the man should have been there for the kid, but in his stupidity and perverseness the Sannin failed the boy in every sense of the word. Was this how Sarutobi-sensei felt when it came to Orochimaru, thought Jiraiya, as he couldn't help but think what was going on through the old monkey's head at the time. I was thinking of getting a small tactical team together to send after the group to hire to assist Konoha in its time of need against Orochimaru. With the Chunin exams coming up here in Konoha in 2 more years, I figure it would be the perfect time for the bastard to strike us again, said Tsunade, knowing that Orochimaru always did things twice, with the second time being slightly different than the first. They will never go for it, Tsunade, and even if they did, the council would try to demand too much from them in terms of working for Konoha. It would kill any future hopes of a stable contract to possibly use should they be needed again later in another dark chapter of Konoha. You know what the council is like, Tsunade, when they try to get what they want and they threaten to use force to get it. They did it with Sensei, the Yondaime, and they will find a way to use it on you when they see the opportunity brought before them, said Jiraiya, knowing how the council acted when Tsunade informed them she was going to the daimyo to appeal the order for executing Naruto, and they threatened to remove her from the position of Hokage before marking her an S-class missing ninja. Her response was sending an elderly council member through a wall and daring the rest to follow through with the threat. They wisely decided not to. Still, I have nothing to lose and I need all the help I can get. I was thinking of using the rookies since they've been growing at a fast rate ever since they found out about what the council tried to do to Naruto, said Tsunade, her eyes showing sadness at the looks on all their faces when they were told. She actually had to have ANBU keep them all at bay from going on a killing spree. Even more so when they learned what was sealed inside of Naruto along with the rest of the village. Though from the looks on some of the younger generation when the news got out, I'm willing to bet the parents broke the law before the ink even tried on Sarutobi's decree, said Jiraiya, seeing some of the kids around Naruto's age not showing any kind of surprise at all. This is why I had those said parents taken to Ibiki for questioning while I had Kurenai place their kids under a teaching genjutsu Irika created 2 years ago to deal with the trio of pranksters that are Naruto's disciples. It makes them all think they should go home to learn something taught at school that day and is normally used on the most misbehaved members of the class, said Tsunade, smirking at Irika's idea only to see the trio recover from it later and prank the poor man by planting a super fudge packed brownie right on his seat before he sat back down. It didn't help that Shizen had just opened the door to speak to Irika when he sat back up from sitting down. The end result made the medic shinobi see what appeared to be a full-grown man and Chunin teacher losing control of his bowls, putting the teacher in quite the embarrassing position, looking like he had literally crapped right through his pants. The Konohamaru Corps were, not surprisingly, sick for the next couple of days, most likely to avoid Irika's wrath since he knew, or at least suspected it was them. What did you find out from them? Said Jiraiya, knowing that the only people that knew about the kyuubi in Naruto were the council. I learned that those asshole adults had told their children in private about Naruto, and the kyuubi only in more exaggerated terms, preferring that the safety of their families came first over the Hokage's law to protect a demon. I made sure Anko had a go at them after that just for good measure, just to teach them all a lesson before I had them executed for breaking it originally. The council tried to argue, saying that since the law was now void so should their punishment. I, however, argued that since they broke the law when it was still in effect, that the punishment being death was mandatory regardless of their protests on the matter, said Tsunade, knowing that the council had done this before with the Sandaime, only with various other loophole laws when someone attacked her little brother. Well, at least you made the public more wary of speaking ill of the kid, knowing that if you don't get to them, his friends will, said Jiraiya, seeing how Lee went on a rampage in the market district after he was considered healthy again to train. Fortunately, the excuse that was used was that he had somehow gotten his hands on some sake, making the spandex boy go all out on the people around him so no charges could be filed. That will only last for so long, Jiraiya, and when it does run out the public will demand that there would be attackers be punished, and they will look to the council to do it, said Tsunade, knowing that this form of mediocre justice for Naruto could only last for so long. It's still better than nothing, Tsunade, and in this case I think it's preferred. Anyway, you get that little list of people together, and when you feel you are set I'll round them up for the mission, said Jiraiya before leaping out the window while ignoring the now yelling Hokage to use the door like a normal person. Sometimes the woman wondered if she should have the windows replaced by solid walls and just cast the genjutsu to make it look like windows to make Jiraiya stop doing that. Capital of Fire Country. 2 weeks later, nighttime. I've never been to Fire Country before, or at least its very capital where the Fire Daimyo resides, said Niyujito, looking out past the curtains of their hotel room on the higher-up floors meant for the more expensive customers, having snuck in as to not tell anyone of their presence in the capital. The former Kumo shinobi and demon vessel of the Nibi Cat demon was forever grateful for this group of roguish shinobi that saved her back in her former village, as she felt her safety could no longer be granted there. The people in Kumo had always tried to hurt the young woman ever since she was a little girl, but such harmful attempts had been foiled by the Reikage, who was her legal guardian. However, only recently did the Council of Kumo decide that Yujito had lived just long enough for their tastes, and apparently, in their minds, the Reikage's amusement. The oh-so-honorable members of the council had come together and ordered that she either be executed or be used as a way to breed a new bloodline for future use of the village, due to the cat demon's chakra running through her coils. Fortunately, the Reikage, despite having his hands figuratively tied behind his back in the matter, was able to convince them to let Yujito decide her fate. Since it would be the last true free will act she could have, the council didn't seem to mind, and Yujito knew that no matter the choice the council won in the end. That was before they showed up. Yujito had only heard of them recently as the rumors spread through the shadows of the shinobi world about them, and she herself thought of them only as a myth. She had been mistaken when she later heard the rumors of a large portion of Akatsuki being eliminated by their hands, thus freeing her from their potential capture, and yet again, upon all 4 of them entering the meeting room, several ANBU had tried to stop them, but were beaten really badly or were crippled into submission before falling at their feet. When the council had demanded why they were in their presence, Yujito noticed only the Reikage did not rise from his seat and remained a pillar of calmness. The leader of the group, She would later learn to be Konoha's former shinobi demon vessel Uzumaki. Now kyuubi Naruto silenced them with intense killing intent. The result made the council members fall back into their seats, grasping at their chests, trying in some vain attempt to get the hearts in their bodies working again. Flashback. Despite our method of gaining your acknowledgement for this meeting, we mean Kumo no harm, seeing as your A and B lying on the floor before us are still alive if just barely. We are here to take Niyujito away from Kumo after having learned of what this place intends to do with her that we do not believe is your right to do, said Naruto, walking right up beside Yujito before putting a comforting hand on her shoulder as she looked up at him. I see. How did you know what was happening here today, if I may ask, Leader-sama? Said the Raikage, since he did not know the man's name. We have been in Kumo in secret for some time, watching, listening, and waiting for this day to happen, Raikage-sama, so that when it did we would act upon it. We see no possible future for Niyujito within your ranks, considering you have failed to protect her today when she needed you the most. So after careful consideration among my followers, we agreed that the best solution to this problem is to extract Yujito-san from Kumo, and have her become our newest member, said Naruto, smiling behind the part of his cloth mask that was hidden from view. She will never be allowed to go with you. I don't know who you think you are, but you, sir, have no sway here despite what you may believe, said a council members, who had been looking forward to this day for over a month and a half with every intention of the ends meeting the means of himself along with his fellow council members. Actually, I do. Prior to my visit here, I met with your daimyo, and showed him some of your more sensitive documents you have stored away. You see, I know the truth behind what happened in Konoha during that incident with your so-called ambassador 13 years ago, when the council deliberately hid this bit of information from both the daimyo and the Raikage himself, said Naruto, throwing a scroll to the Raikage, who caught it with ease before opening it, and reading the contents of it while the council members started to sweat nervously. You did this behind my back, said the Raikage, losing his calm composure, as he rose up as he stared at the documents before him. Yes, they did, Raikage-sama. You see, the Kumo ambassador you sent had been given a second set of orders from the council despite you and your daimyo wishing for peace to happen between both Kumo and Konoha. This council ordered the man to kidnap the Hyuga heiress, or at the very least a main branch family member of the clan, since his status as ambassador would be able to allow him access within the Hyuga compound. During his time there, the man went right for the Hyuga heiress. When he was killed, the man died of a small dosage of poison after biting down on a pill hidden in a fake tooth in his mouth after he was struck by a gentle fist attack that hit his chest. The small amount of poison used would be undetectable unless you were the slug Sannin Tsunade, who at the time was not in Konoha, said Naruto, eyeing the council members with a great deal of hate, knowing they were the ones that caused both Hinata and Niji's side of the family so much problems. I told you I wanted peace due to the low amount of shinobi we had, while they still outnumbered us by a small, but significant number, said the Raikage, looking down at the quivering members of the council, who knew they were in for a world of hurt. Our Raikage-sama, please, said another old council member, only to be backhanded by the infuriated Kage. I've heard enough from all of you. Guards, said the Raikage as a new set of ANBU shinobi came into the room. Yes, Raikage-sama, said the ANBU captain, looking slightly at Naruto behind his mask, wondering what his lightning shadow would want. Arrest all the council members before you on the charges of treason while attempting to usurp the orders of the Raikage and lighting daimyo, said the Raikage, nodding towards Naruto, who nodded right back as a show of respect and understanding between them. And flashback. In the end, all the Kumo council members were killed immediately, since a trial would be pointless to have since they were guilty as hell. The Raikage, out of gratitude, had granted the request made by Naruto on the grounds that Yujito's identity as their newest member stay only with him, since they preferred to keep to the shadows of the shinobi world. The lightning shadow agreed before hugging the young woman goodbye, since he had always seen her as the daughter he never had. None of us have Yujito-san, but we're here now anyway on account of the rumors flying around about the fire daimyo wanting to see us, which I confirmed with a fox summons a few hours ago. I sent Zabuza and Kimimaro out to scout around while Haku is spying in his civilian clothing, since he can blend in easier than the other two, said Naruto, since no one would suspect the boy from being a shinobi with a face like his that would make you think the boy had such an angelic face. If they only knew Haku was not the good kind of angel, but rather the darker one. It does make sense, since albinos are quite rare no matter where you are, and the sight of one would surely draw attention that you don't need, said Yujito before she turned to face the young leader in question. We would be the correct term here, Yujito, since I think about the group as a whole more than myself, which is the case here. Zabuza is infamous no matter the area we are in, but he's sneaky as hell, so I can trust him to get out of tight situations if he's ever in one. I am also well aware he can't be seen in public since he was declared dead, and Kimimaro was the former bodyguard of Orochimaru, who the Sannin believes died during the attempt of getting Uchiha Sasuke over to his side. For now I want the world to continue seeing them as just that, until the time is right to reveal ourselves to the world, and what we can do, said Naruto, knowing that his time spent with his group traveling the elemental countries getting stronger, meeting old friends that thought you were dead, and killing off missing ninjas scattered all over that didn't deserve his mercy for the hefty sum could be hellish in itself. My apologize, Naruto-sama, said Yujito, hoping she didn't infuriate her new leader to the point he struck her for her stupidity. There is no need to apologize, Yujito-san, since you are new to the group, but for now we need to give you a nickname that will inspire fear in our enemies, said Naruto, as he thought of what to name her. How about Hell's Feline? said Yujito, offering her own since it would seem fitting given her current status as a demon vessel of the Nibi Cat demon. That's quite good actually. Hell's feline it is, Yujito-san, said Naruto, now with a smile hidden from view, though Yujito could still see it from the way his facial muscles moved from the upper exposed part of his face. He then handed her a dark cloak with a cat ANBU mask he took from the wreckage, who gave it to him to further help conceal her identity from those the group may encounter. It wasn't long before Haku returned via doorway after knocking 3 times to confirm it was him, while Kimimaro and Zabuza entered via partially opened window under the henge of birds. From what they gathered, the fire daimyo was well guarded and had a considerable strike force of Konoha Leaf shinobi, all ranked jounin, or ANBU, recently transferred to keep an eye him. Apparently, Tsunade didn't trust them with the fire daimyo as far as she could throw Jiraiya with one of her punches, and considering how strong she was, that was saying something. She probably believes she can have her shinobi with the fire daimyo while we have our meeting with him, said Kimimaro, trying to think on the matter how Tsunade would try to have a solid reason for the shinobi near the feudal lord. That's what I want you, Zabuza, and Haku to take care of them all tomorrow while I and Yujito-san speak to the fire daimyo to help clear up certain political matters that need to be brought to his attention. Just disable them, but no killing unless it's unavoidable, said Naruto, since it would help leave a better impression with the old hag if the shinobi were sent to the hospital rather than the morgue. Granted, they would probably be put in the hospital wing for those in critical condition, but at least it wasn't in a body bag for Tsunade to inspect back in Konoha. Yes, Naruto-sama, said the 3 former water country-born shinobi, bowing to the man before they all decided it was time to sleep since it was getting late. What if kyuubi awakened the Naruto potential? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel, and leave a like if you guys need the next part. Comment down, and thanks for watching the video, and see you guys in the next video.